full of tacos, welcome to the Dirt Life Show with your host, George Hamill.
What's up, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube? This is episode 129 of the Dirt Life Show. We're going to talk all kinds of fun stuff today about social media, sponsorships, all kinds of stuff that you guys can help with your program. We have a bunch of cool guests coming up, and man, today with one of the OGs, my homie, known him for a long time. He's done all kinds of stuff in motorsports, man. Started out doing stuff with dirt bikes. We were just talking about the mini bike days back in like 04, 05. He's been all around off-road, man. First time I entered a race car, I saw this dude's face at the track at the Lucas Off-Road events. Ken Johnson, now he's helping Boxo Tools, a bunch of different racers, companies, all kinds of cool stuff. Welcome, dude.
Man, thank you, George, for having me, and man, I appreciate the pump up on the intro. Man, that was big.
Dude, I appreciate all the stuff that you've done, not just for me, but for the whole industry, right? Like, it's cool to have these conversations because there's so much that we can talk about tonight. Like, I wrote down a few notes, but I think we could just wing it, dude, because we got so much cool stuff to talk about.
We can. We'll just go ahead and crumple these things up and just throw them out.
All right, so thanks for coming and hanging out, Ken. We are at IMG Motorsports in Lake Elsinore, California. Appreciate all you guys for hanging out with us tonight. It's May 16th, 2022, episode 129 of the Dirt Life Show. Talking all about social media and sponsorships. I'm Georgie Hamill, the host of the Dirt Life Show. Today, we've got Ken Johnson going to co-host with me. Let's see. First thing I got to ask you guys is please share the show. Help us, help you guys, because the more people that we get to, come on the show and hang out with us, the better it is for our sponsors and for the people that support us. So that's the first tip I'll give you guys. Always support the people that support you.
That's right. And all you have to do is hit that little paper airplane in the corner right there, and then click a whole bunch of people to share the show.
Share it with your homies.
Sharing is caring.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing I want to get out of the way real quick, too, is that our buddy, one of your good friends, Alex Streiler, we have a sponsorship summit coming up on June 17th. It's going to be pretty cool. So we'll talk about some of the same subjects that we're going to talk about tonight, but we'll have experts on every single one of them, and it'll be cool because it's going to be all on Zoom, and you can go sign up for it. So we're going to help Alex launch that on Wednesday. So we're going to post some stuff on our social media. All of this stuff is really important that we're going to talk about tonight because there's so much there's so much been happening lately in the last couple years that it's a transitionary period, and if you can capitalize on that, you have a really good opportunity to further your program.
Absolutely.
So you'll get some good information from us tonight, but if you guys want to get more information, you guys can always join that sponsorship summit. So today's topics, we are going to be talking about social media, one of the things that you're very, very good at, Ken. Industry relationships, which I think are very important. Handshakes always beat anything else, right?
Right.
Sponsorships for ambassadors. So maybe we can try to translate not just like racing sponsorships. Maybe we can kind of talk about it if you're like the Dirt Life Show. How would the Dirt Life Show?
You know what? And you know who's really good at that is we're going to bring on Robert Wilson. Man, he's an expert. He's the guy that brought probably the most money to Lucas Oil, right, for Team Lucas and the sponsorship. The guys at Tonka, he brought in Lomart. He brought in so many sponsorships for the company, for Lucas Oil. So can't wait to have him on. And then as far as sponsorship for ambassadors, we're going to have Alex Tivoletti on. He oversees all of Holley and all the brands. And I got a chance to show you all the different brands that Holley is involved with, it owns, right? So, man, it's going to be insightful on what's important to Holley or a big brand like that.
Yeah, because they handle so much different stuff. So, like, he has his hands in all kinds of different areas, right?
Right. And Robert Wilson, again, going back to him, he handles so many different social platforms, all kinds of brands that you know of.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's behind the scenes, but, there's a guy for that to handle that, and Robert handles that as well as does the marketing for Boxo USA, and obviously you see what's going on with Boxo, how they've blown up over these last couple of years, and man, Robert has been able to crush it over there.
Thank you very much to Robert and Lucas for supplying the toolbox that we have back here, a little media box. And then one of your good friends, dude, the homie, going to be calling in. I think he's actually waiting for us to answer. Yeah, see? You know who it is?
Yep, we see it.
Looking at me.
And what's so cool about Brad, man, we seen him grow from, man, and he's the same guy as he was when he just started racing, right? He was the back of the pack jack, running around in his pro light, to now, winning races, and developing these incredible trucks. And he's a master at, like, holding relationships or building relationships. For sponsorship, so it's going to be great to see that, and as well as social media. He's an expert at social on the YouTube. He has a ton of subscribers on YouTube, kills it on Instagram. So content creation is super important. So that's stuff that we're going to talk about.
And I think that one of the best things that I see about Brad DeBerti is he's himself.
Yeah.
He doesn't fake it, right? He's
Always.
just always himself. Like,
Yep.
that's one of the things that I want to talk to him the most about. So we can't wait to have Brad DeBerti come on and hang out with us. So, Brad, I know you're in the queue right now. Let me get through our sponsor list real quick, and then we'll get you in. So please share the show, Facebook, YouTube. We're always live on Monday nights, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So please share the show. We got iTunes and all that stuff. So if you guys are driving down the highway, going to the races, whatever you guys are doing these days, throw it on iTunes. I don't know how it all works, but like, the more you share, the more you like, and the more you comment, it helps our social media and all that stuff. So we can talk to these guys about how that actually works today, and get interactive with the show too. Like, you guys have the opportunity for asking questions. Like, these guys are right in front of you right now. So please ask all the questions. And if you don't get the chance to do it now and you are listening at a later date, please send a DM to any of these guys. We posted all of their instant messenger or social media channels on our post. So please go there and hang out with them and ask them questions, because these guys are willing to help you because they want to grow the industry. Our show, we have some fantastic sponsors. So thank you to the guys at KMC Wheels. Those guys have always been a partner of the show, so we really appreciate Ryan and Ryan over there. They do such a great job making wheels. So please head down to your local 4-Wheel Parts or wherever your local KMC dealership is. Buy some KMC wheels. Tell them that the Dirt Life sent you. How about this, man? We'll give you some free stickers if you buy some KMC wheels. So just let us know. Take a picture of your car, and then we'll throw you some free stickers too. Maybe even a T-shirt. Thank you to the guys over at Motul. I don't know if you've seen these things, Ken. These things are pretty bitchin'. These are the new Evolution Power Sports Motul oil change kits. So all these side-by-side guys, including myself, usually have questions on what oil to put in our cars. Now we don't even have to worry about it. We just get the car kit.
Education right here, man. And I'm sure you're ready to get some people to buy onto this right here. And
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a great product.
Dude, it's awesome. And plus, it's two of our show sponsors that teamed up. So it could have worked, but couldn't have worked better out better for the Dirt Life. So yeah, thank you to the guys over at Motul. So please support those guys. Hit them up on social media at Motul USA. Thank you to guys at Shock Therapy for giving me this badass hat, for making such awesome hard parts, and you can get a ride improvement system for your car. Use the code DIRTLIFE, get some limit straps, a steering rack, maybe a BSD kit, bump steer delete kit for your rig, or even get your suspension done. So thank you to the guys over at Shock Therapy. Thank you to the guys over at JL Audio. They're a new partner of the show. We're going to have some cool stuff coming out with them later this year. So we really appreciate all the stuff that they do. Again, thank you to the guys at Evolution Power Sports. Not only are they a fantastic company and they can tune your ride to go super fast, dunes or wherever, racetrack, but they're doing a lot of stuff with the Phoenix Children's Hospital, and we can't wait to kind of keep you guys informed about that stuff, because it means so much that they're giving back to the community. Thank you guys over at Zollinger Racing Products. You can use the code TheDirtLife at ZollingerRacingProducts.com. Get yourself some tie rods, radius rods, match up with all your Shock Therapy stuff. Those guys have been awesome. They've been a partner of the show since day one. And Vision Canopies. Kyle just won at the Great American Short Course this weekend.
I seen that. Congrats to Kyle, man.
Yeah.
And he's living his best life. I mean,
Dude.
he's out there, busting his butt, making some money, and then he's out there able to race and have a great time. So
Hard work.
Congrats to him.
Hard work. That's one of the subjects I want to talk about tonight. Hard work, man.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter if you're the best at social media. If you don't put in the work, you ain't going to get results.
Absolutely.
And thank you to the guys over at Cryo. Oh, so go visit the guys at Vision Canopy. See them on Instagram. Go give them a follow. Check out their website, because they can dial in all your branding at the races so you look pro like all these guys that are out here racing.
Yeah, George, you know what kind of canopies we run?
Vision.
There it is.
Woo!
Yeah.
Look at that, dude.
We got Vision, and he did that. He dialed us in for we do the quarantine cruise, right? It's
Yep.
down in Huntington Beach, and we get, anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 cars at our events. All
Damn.
classics, right? And Kyle ended up getting our stuff dialed. Like we needed a merch booth, and we wanted to sell our T-shirts and our hats and stuff. And he came in, dialed in our table cover,
Looking pro now?
Yeah, dialed in our canopies, our whole deal, our flags, our sky flags, our whole stuff. It just looks great.
Dude,
so,
that's perfect,
yeah,
man.
Yeah.
There we go. We got to put the can facing the right way.
Yeah,
and thank you to the guys over at Cryo Heat. Josh and all his team. You've known those guys for a long time, right?
Yeah. Josh LaHaye, dude. He goes back all the way to the 50 stuff, all the pit bike stuff.
Mini moto stuff?
Yeah, all the pit bike stuff. Yeah, LaHaye goes all the way back to them days. So,
dude, we're gonna talk about sponsorships and stuff, but I honestly think we could do a total show on just mini moto.
We probably could. We probably could do some stuff on pit bikes. If you guys have rode pit bikes in the past, give me a thumbs up and let me know. Let me know and what you had. Did you have a 110? Did you have a 50? What parts did you run?
Yeah, and Hostility Inc. says, great to see you, Ken. Traco, yep. Vision Canopies, Top Shelf. Yeah, so thank you to all of our sponsors. All right, so we're going to get the myth, the man, the myth, the legend, Brad DeBerti on here. I do want to say one thing before Brad comes on, though, is his realism, his heart at the track, at the races, all of the stuff that he did, man. I remember seeing him, where was it at? Oh, it was in Mexico, and there was like that six-pack that they were going through in a pro light. He wadded it up so hard, but he did every single thing that he could to try to get back out there. His brain was scrambled, dude. He is
he's a beast.
He's a gnarly dude, man. So I can't wait to talk with him and see how things are going with him and what he's been up to. But let's get him on here, Ken.
Let's do it.
All right, so we're gonna get Brad DeBerti on here, hang out and talk with him for a little bit, and see what he's been up to.
Dude, you guys can't talk me up like that.
Yeah, buddy.
Dude, all right. So, Brad DeBerti, professional off-road racer or motorsports racer, as well as insane car builder and just all-around good guy. Welcome to the Dirt Life Show, man. Episode 129 is kicking off hard with you, buddy.
Dude, thank you guys, man. Hey, this is like a legit show, man. Congrats to you guys. You guys got it all set up good. And you got the legend, Ken Johnson, sitting right there.
Dude,
that
and we got
right there knows everything about
dude.
social media. He actually beat me in a race. Look at that.
You know
Wait, what race was this?
You know what? We raced some UTVs out in Arizona, and it was a regional race. And the Wellers, they said, "Hey, Ken." It was funny because the story goes, and Robert's gonna be on, but Jason called Robert and I and said, "Hey, Ken, we got a car, man. You can race it." I was like, "What? No way, really?" And so he's like, "Yeah, you got to come out." And it was like I don't know, probably a Monday they called, and
it was in Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix.
Wild Horse.
Wild Horse, yeah. And so he brought the car out. He had a mechanic for me, James, and it was probably the best experience ever. Robert was going to come, but he had some other obligations, so I got to race. It was originally Robert was going to race Saturday, and I was going to race Friday.
What was it, like a celebrity thing or what?
No, dude, it was a regular regional race. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Corey raced.
Hey,
Brad
we
raced.
the big dog, Ken Johnson.
Dude, I just rolled off the couch. Never raced a car ever. Never raced any UTVs, and ended up getting what did I get? I think I got second.
Oh, dude, you know what? I do remember that.
Yeah,
I totally remember that. That was a race that I couldn't make it up to, and I was so pissed because I was gonna like shake your hand or give you a hug after you got off the track.
Dude, so pumped! I got second, and yeah, I think I ended up getting DQ'd because my car was like 5 pounds too heavy or too light or something like that. So I gave the trophy to Brad.
Bro.
I just gave it to Brad. You know what? Brad needed the trophy. He needed it more than me, so I made sure that he had the trophy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was kind of bummed. Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy, man. It's still super cool that you got to actually experience that. All right, so Brad, we're gonna talk about some cool stuff, some stuff that you've done. Like before we get into the sponsorship, what have you been up to lately, man?
Dude, I just been just working on everything. You know what's fun is like, again, I never thought in my life I was ever gonna race, like ever. And I was actually going military. I mean, that's what my whole plan was in the beginning. And just got right place, right time, and I hopped in a race car, and it kind of changed my whole path. But no, I've just been busy, really focusing on my YouTube channel, just trying to jump in a bunch of different things and race. Obviously, with everything that's happened in the world, it's everything's took a turn with just life for everyone, because it's like I was racing full-time rallycross, and literally the whole series just went bankrupt, and it was kind of a bummer deal. But hey, it's like anything, man. It's the work you put in is what you get out. So I always am just constantly running social stuff. I'm racing things. Believe it or not, I'm remodeling a house house construction, stuff like that, and just kind of just having fun at the same time.
Dude, Ken, the hustle is strong with Brad.
You know what? And anybody that's watching, they say, "Hey, man, I work hard." I guarantee they don't work half as hard as Brad and Doug. Man, they outwork anybody I know. It's crazy what they do. And going back to Lucas Oil Regionals, it's funny because when I first met Brad, they came out to the regionals. I met him at Glen Helen, and Brad and his dad showed up in the the hauler, the black hauler. And every race, they're like, "Hey, we want to get in early," and we're like, "Nah." And they're like, "Hey, you know what? We'll clean all the grandstands if you let us in early, right?
Really?
We'll clean the grandstands for you guys and do whatever you guys want us to do, so that way we can get in early." And just goes, "Hey, you know what? They're down to go above and beyond. They're not there to race. They're there to support the industry, right, and help." And it was freaking fantastic.
Dude, that is super cool. So that's actually one of the things that we'll talk about today is what you give to be able to take back, right? Like, so we can talk about that a little bit later. Brad, I got a little, I don't know, reminiscent because I saw a picture on the Aero Components website. They build carts and pit boxes and stuff like that.
Yep.
And, dude, they had the rig I think that you had in 2015 or 16, and they had your awning as a poster on their website.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, I was looking at it. I was like,
funny,
no
man.
way. And it was literally right after I talked to Ken. He's like, yeah, let's get Brad on the show. I'm like, hell yeah, I just saw him on the Arrow website too.
Man. And you know,
man, that was fun. That was when we were pretending to be big. We weren't even big at all. We got to get this awning and fit in.
I feel like he was flexing pretty hard.
which
though.
one was it? The inflatable awning or the?
No, it was off the trailer.
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Man. But going back as far as getting sponsorship, right? I mean, let's talk. I mean, Brad fits in both the social media, sponsorships, marketing, the whole deal. He does it all. Like there's not a big team behind him. And him and his dad, or the basically workhorses behind their whole program. And obviously they got fantastic wives, and but Brad, when I first initially met you, you weren't fast, right? And you didn't have no social media,
Dude.
right? And you didn't have no
Yeah,
sponsors.
no,
You didn't have no sponsors, no social, and you were slow.
No.
So he had,
dude,
but he
I
had
was
a lot of
I was-
heart and good support system.
Yes.
I literally was in a pro light and UTVs were flying by me, and there's like Ricky Bobby. I was like, I'm like, what's going on? No, it's I wasn't raised with electronics. I always say I was raised old school. My dad had us out in the shop working. If we wanted something, we had to go out and build it, or we had to go work for it and get it. And so with that, I literally didn't have a phone. And so actually, the first person that ever told me, "Hey, dude, you want to get like an Instagram or something?" I'm like, "Why?" And then the man himself, Ken Johnson's all, "Well, you want some sponsors, right?" I'm like, "Well, that'd be kind of nice. So I don't have to buy used tires anymore." So that's how it all started. Was actually Ken. So
But I feel like
appreciate that a lot.
yeah, the advice. I feel like that's a pretty common practice, though, right? Like that's how most people start.
What's that?
Just the way that Brad did, same way.
Yeah. I mean, he started from the bottom and man worked his way up. Now you got 100,000 subs. You started YouTube last year, right?
Yeah.
100,000 subs
Yeah,
on YouTube. It's massive, right?
Yeah, it's just like any journey. It's like, dude, I wanted to give up so many times throughout the journey, and it's just like you have your end goal, and I have just like with the racing and everything, and you just got to keep going. But yeah, I mean, with the racing and with the social and everything, it's just 100%. Whatever you put out is what you're gonna get back. If you just I upload every Wednesday once a week, and it's so hard to do that because I do all the filming, I do all the editing, I do run all of our social pages. I recently finally just got some help for someone to help me pull in some sponsorship, but up until literally like last month, me and my dad have done everything. So, and that includes prepping the vehicles, getting the things to the track. Like it's 100% full-time job. So, and then with that, that's the fun side. With that, I also have a real job, and that's building vehicles, and then also remodeling houses and stuff like that. But yeah, it's all I can say is I'm just thankful to be able to even like met you, Ken. Ken's been a big part of my life. I could honestly say that I wouldn't have raced my first national race if Ken didn't walk up to me and was like, dude, you have got to race. I'm all, whoa, bro, I'm not ready for
Whatever.
that.
You're
And
ready,
all,
dude.
He pushed me to do it.
Hey, when you're racing the regional series and Jared Brooks comes down and races Pro Lights, the champion, and you beat him at the regional race, are you ready to race the national series?
Yeah, that's a pretty good flex
I
right
think
there.
that's like, hey, you know what? I mean, because Jared is no joke, man. He is freaking incredibly talented.
Absolutely.
And Brad and him were battling at the regional series. I'm like, dude, we're at the same track.
Yeah, well, and kudos to Jarrett, too, for, like, being how badass he is now, because he's grown into a badass racer now, too.
And he was a badass racer then.
Yeah,
I think,
100%.
Yeah, again, he was a pro light champion, and Brad, came in, and it was really awesome. I mean, when he came in, you ended up winning, right? Like, not the first race. Did you race the first race, Elsinore? You ended up winning that one, or?
Yeah, yeah. I won my first 2 races. I led the whole series up until Mexico, and when I got hit in the back. You mentioned that earlier, and I crashed pretty bad. But yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of experience, and it's like anything. It's like if you're playing football and you're like, hey man, I want to play NFL next month. It's like, all right, well, you got to get ready. There's so many things that go into it. I think, like, in my past, I've had just like it's a great story. It just sounds like, oh, it's streamlined. It was perfect, but man, it literally it took everything.
So,
I mean, me and my dad and my whole family, we literally sold everything, and I changed my whole life. Like, from the first time I got in a truck to the second time, I lost like over 30 pounds. I mean, I was on a hardcore diet, like hardcore working out. All I did was watch videos of all the racers, studied every single race car driver, and that we literally breathed everything about racing. And so it took a lot, but yeah, it's been pretty cool, the journey.
Brad, I mean, the show's about social and sponsorship, but can you take us through your tire journey? You were originally with buying used tires. Mickey Thompson gave you a shot, right? And you made them look fantastic, and then you went to BFG, right? There's no in between, or did you go to Toyo to BFG? I can't remember I can't recall the.
No, to BFG.
Yeah, so you went.
Yeah, I went straight to BFG.
And you didn't really change. You've been BFG for a long time, and you were Mickey Thompson for a really long time, right? You're not bouncing around with different sponsorships or partners, right? You try to retain
Loyalty.
the partners
100%.
for as long as you can, right? Until you need to grow, right? And hopefully they can grow with you.
100%. Yep. Yeah, again, I started out, and me and my dad, we literally saw a commercial on TV, and we're like, hey, you want to go watch that race? And it was in 2 days from when we watched it. We literally went straight to Arizona, watched the race, and was hooked. Bought a truck in the parking lot. It was what Ken actually would say. It was a C truck.
It was a B truck, dude. B truck, dude. It was good, but
whose truck was that? Because I remember you guys talking about that. And in fact, I think it was Brad that might have said something maybe on a podium or something like, man, this truck has been treating us pretty well. It's solid, but we need something that's a little more competitive.
It was Brad Persons. He used to run it. It was an old geyser truck.
So, I mean, as you know, I mean, it was good. It was good, but it wasn't winning, right? So it was probably a 5th to 10th place truck, right?
Right.
But you're not gonna win in that truck if everyone has the best settings, they have the best package, the best motor, right, the best chassis. I don't care how fast of a driver you are, you're not gonna go out there and win. Is that right, Brad? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it has a lot to do with, for sure, the outcome. I just think, with that truck, I'm so glad that we found it in that parking lot that day and went home and pretty much sold everything to get it, because that truck forced me to try and be fast. I feel like if I would have started out the best thing, it wouldn't have been the same outcome, because, it's at that point once I got to a certain point, I eliminated the truck being the issue. So I knew if I got in one of the top trucks and I couldn't make it be a top truck, it was me at that point.
Yeah, you had no excuses.
So, yeah, exactly. So again, we just put our heads down and keep in mind, like, it's just me and my pops, and my family. So we're going to these races, and these racers have full teams. I mean, they have people prepping the truck, checking the truck, filling it with gas, tuning the carburetor, all this stuff, and we just show up, and it's just me and my dad. So to get back to your story, that's why we would actually come early, because we didn't have any help. So my dad and I we'd have to start setting up our awnings and everything that literally the day before the race even started, because if we couldn't get in early, we wouldn't have a tent to be under, and we'd just be sitting in the hot. So, but yeah, it was a journey, man. From that truck, fast forward, I met Brian Deegan, and we somehow managed to get his truck. It was so much we couldn't afford tires, so we bought all his used tires, and we ran those. Actually, my first 2 wins, actually the first 4 wins, were all on used tires. So
That's
the
crazy.
tire game, yeah, it was crazy. The tire game and the off road, which both you guys are aware, and people watching, it is everything. Like if you don't have the correct set of tires, the correct grooving, the correct grip, I mean, air pressure, like it keeps going. I mean, I don't care what you do, you're not going to win, and I just happened to drive really the truck that's, very hard, and taking the things I've learned, and yeah, it jump started my career. I remember my dad was putting on all these logos, and George, the awning you seen is part of the story. All the pictures on that awning that you see, my dad put all those on the awning and matched it on the race truck. And I look at him, I go, dude, what are you doing? He's all, look, if you do good, these guys are coming back. And keep in mind, I reached out for sponsorship. Hey, will you guys, help me out? Will you help me out? Will you help me out? Will you help me out? Not one company would help me, because 2 things. I didn't have social media, which can help me start that. And the other thing is, I literally had 0 race experience ever. Never raced anything in my entire life. And so with those 2 things, that is a completely loaded weapon to getting a 0 sponsorship from anyone.
So what do you?
And I'll just finish real quick. He put those logos on the truck, hoping that we're gonna do good. And the first weekend of my national races literally changed everything, because every one of those logos that you put on the truck, every single one of them called us after that event.
Yeah, so
and
there's one thing that I definitely want to say about Brad's story. First of all, kudos to them for thinking ahead and being one step ahead. So you can relate this to a couple different things. First of all, their hard work. The hard work is the base of this platform that he's talking about right now. Then second is being able to sustain or afford what you're going to be putting yourself in. And he's doing that as well, because he's pushing the boundaries of what he can do, because he's so passionate about what he's doing, whether that's computer jobs or the Dirt Life show or racing a truck. And then the third thing is everybody always says, if you're going to try to get a new job, you dress for the position that you want to get. Right? If you want to go be the CEO of Coca-Cola, you need to be wearing a tuxedo or a suit, right? Like a nice outfit. You need to be clean shaved, like all that stuff. And Brad did the same thing with his dad, putting those logos on so that he could get discovered in that position. It's not a fake it thing. It's a put yourself in a professional situation so that other people see that before they even approach you.
Absolutely, it's all about giving, right? So giving back, and I get it. Some guys they will put big logos on their car, and they'll be towards the back, or trying to give sponsorship love, and to try and get a sponsor, where sometimes it works negative, but at the same time, I mean, like we're Brad. He put the logo on the car before the race. He knew. I mean, he didn't know he was going to do good, but he did fantastic. And obviously, he wouldn't have continued running a logo on the car if nobody approached him. But that was like, hey, I'm right here, guys, right? And what happened? He got the call. He ended up doing good or great, and got the calls right after the race, right? So that was big on Brad. So
let's see if you think about doing it the exact opposite way, Brad. Like, what happens if you just came out with a white awning, didn't have any logos on it, you had a white truck? Do you think the same thing would have happened?
I think at the performance I was performing, yes, but it would have taken a very long time, because again, that was my dad just being proactive about it. If we went out and raced and that was a one-time hit, no, I would have never got any sponsorship. So yeah, it's about just you get to a point with whatever anyone does. I don't care if you're doing construction or whatever you're doing. When you're swinging a hammer and you have the confidence of hitting the nail like first hit, and all right, dude, it's going to be like, I know I'm going to be in the top. Like, you just have to know when you get to a certain point on whatever you're doing. And I just think that when we joined it, my mindset was only one way, you know. And the other thing I think that's big, that I would say 95, this is probably my best advice I could ever give anyone. 95% of race teams right now that are racing, I don't care what race series, they forget the biggest thing. They forget why they started, you know. And for me, we started to have fun with the family. So,
Yep.
I mean, you could see, like, back in the day, I have happy faces on all my trucks and everything, because it's like, that's me, just that's my personality. I'm excited. I'm always happy. And I let myself get upset one race. And I got caught up in the points and stuff, and I actually got taken out literally at the very end. And I didn't place, but I let myself get upset one time, and it absolutely ruined the entire weekend. And, you know, I came together with my family and I said, look, I will never get upset in a race car ever again, because what's most important is that I'm even blessed to be in a car.
Yep.
Most people never even have the opportunity to ever get in a vehicle. So that's my biggest advice with anything I race. I don't care. I just raced Crown Vics with nitrous. I had a great time. Yeah, it didn't go the way I wanted it to, but I left with a smile, because you have to, you know?
Yeah,
so,
dude, I couldn't agree more. That's one of the things that I wanted to talk about too, is that the passion is what drives us to race, right? It's not the sponsorship that drives you to race. The sponsorship might help you race, a little bit better, but if you can't do it without sponsorships, it's going to be very hard for you to do it with sponsorships, because when you have a sponsor, it's not free money, it's not free parts, it's deliverables that you have to give back to satisfy that trade, right? It's a relationship.
100%.
And those things add on to the whole program, right? I remember telling people, I think it was maybe even last week's show, is the funnest years that I had with my program was actually in I think it was 2016, when I raced side-by-sides against Brad. And those were fun because I supported my whole program. I got a little bit of help from a company called Supercuts, which was which was a cool thing that I want to talk about tonight. But that was it. I had so much fun because my deliverables are very low.
Right.
But I was able to go out there and race.
We had a good time.
Dude, it was fun, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've raced you so many times, man. We've hit a few times. I was just telling Ken, I said, oh, I haven't talked to that fool since we were hit.
I remember that. I think it was at Glen Helen.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we would battle hard, and the thing that impressed me the most about Brad is that in 2016 the Yamahas were a little bit ahead of the Polaris in the UTV class, at least for short course, because they were getting the rules all figured out. But it didn't matter because he was up there with us the whole time, and I was like, "How the fuck is this guy driving so good?" And I was like, "He's always right there, man." And I would love it though, because we'd stand up on the podium and be like, "Dude, that was good. That was a good race."
Yeah, man. That was,
no, you've always done great, man. I've always enjoyed watching you. But even in the UTVs, you know, it's like that was so much fun. All I can say is, like, you know, sponsorship. You know, to jump back on that topic, sponsorship is very important. You know, and I have never been in the position to be the person to, like, really be very, very good at, you know, making deals and doing things like that's just, it's not really like a great spot for me, because I'm just like, you know, probably the majority of the people in here, I'm so nice and like I'm good at certain things, but that's always been a little difficult. But I could say, like, the social media aspect, I knew that was kind of like my way to try and get sponsors, at least according to what Ken was telling me. And Ken showed me everything. He's like, dude, understand this, man. You're beating the top guys, but these top guys have, you know, social medias, and that's the separation. You know, it's like you would think that someone that is winning the series and is winning a lot should have that rock star energy, should have that monster energy, sponsorship, the big boy, you know. But at the end of the day, it's like you have to keep this being the racer and this being the social media. You got to grow them together.
Yeah.
Because of nowadays and age, I mean, it was different back in the day. Back in the day, it's how good of a driver are you, and those were the dudes that just went skyrocket. Now it's you got to have a happy medium, and that's what's hard. Like, I even watch race series now, and it's like the top dog, if he doesn't have the people to show whoever they're sponsoring, he doesn't always have the sponsorship.
Yeah,
so
he's totally right. And shout out to Kyle from Vision Canopies for just logging on. But Brad's absolutely right, and we've actually talked a little bit about this too. Is there's a lot of old school guys that still do it old school, and that like for instance me. If I didn't have to be paying attention to social media because of the things that I do and the people that I work with, I wouldn't even have it on my phone.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Same here, 100%.
That's how much that's how much we don't necessarily want social media, right? But we do see the benefits of it, and I know that a lot of the people that are listening right now would probably like both Brad, you, and Ken to talk about some more specifics, because that's what's the value for our audience, right? And I don't think that any off-road racer wants to do anything but go out there and win. I mean, if you're an off-road racer, do you want to pay attention to social media, or would you rather put time into your car to go faster, right?
Obviously, you need to. I mean, everybody wants to win. If you're racing, you want to win, but the tools are, social media is part of the tools, right? It's part of the package to be able to win. And again, if you want some supporters, you've got to you got to play the game. And so, in my thoughts are, things that you need to do on social. You need to engage, right? If you're new and you're trying to build, you need to go out and engage with the brands that you want to connect with, right? Whether it's MagnaFlow or Borla or Gibson or any of the other brands, KMC, any of the brands that you want to connect with, you need to go out there and connect with them, right? And comment and get to know them.
So let me add one thing on there too, is social media is not a platform for you to show off. Social media is a platform for you to be social and to connect with people. Like, that's why it's called social media. So anybody that's out there just posting pictures thinking that they look cool or it's a good picture or whatever, that's awesome. We love to see that stuff, but remember, it doesn't have that much value.
Right. You know what? It's funny because I see Chris Decker on here. Chris Decker, he's from NorCal. He basically has a El Camino, really nice El Camino, and he started on social media probably around 2 years ago. I think that's when I started chatting with him on his Instagram, and he's like, "Hey Kenny, like, what should I do?" And I gave him a punch list. I was like, "Hey, I went on his page and I was like, hey, take this off, change this, don't do this, don't do this. This is good, that's not good, this is good, no. And then he cleaned up his page, right? And then next thing you know, he's posting great content. He's building, he's engaging, he's in groups talking to people.
Nice.
Next thing you know, man, he's got people wanting to give him product.
There you go.
Hey, we want to give you product, right? Versus him going out and reaching out to brands and saying, hey, give me product. So that's the best way. You want to have people approach you. And I want to say a large majority of Brad's partners, they approach him. Let's go ahead and you can see his cabinets in the back. Man, he's probably got $100,000 garage. Pretty insane. I mean, he's got a what's the deal in the back? The sim. You got a sim, right? He probably got like a $5 million sim back there, dude.
Dude.
Hey, I have something to add to this because this is just as important. Like, anyone I feel could start a social media, right? They could post whatever, find awesome things. But I see this often, and this really like irritates me when this happens.
Why are you pissed, dude? Why are you mad, dude?
Well, if you're gonna start a social media, be yourself.
Yeah.
Like, don't try and be like, hold on, ready? Hey, what's up, kid? What's up? It's like, don't try and be someone you're not. Just talk. Like, I mean, keep your voice the same. Don't get all crazy with it. Talk the same way you would talk if you're with your wife or with your family. Like, that's the biggest thing that I see, and I feel like a lot of people see right through that.
How do you say don't talk like Al?
Oh, don't talk like Kim Johnson. No, but this is like a really important topic because, again, like, even if you're on here and if you say you're social media, you're going. But if you're not being yourself, like if I'm talking to someone like that right now, seriously, just stop it, because the more you're yourself, you don't ever have to act for anyone. I don't care if there's a camera there. I don't care if you're around 5,000 people. You just talk, and that's a serious problem that I see nowadays and age is just people acting like who they aren't.
Yeah, I can agree with that for sure. And then going along with that, like, once you figure out just to give yourself, like what Brad is talking about, then you have to qualify it in a little bit different manner too, though. So like some people will say, "Oh, it's a numbers game." Well, it's not necessarily a numbers game. Like let's just use Little Johnny as the example, right? Little Johnny has 500 followers on Instagram. If Little Johnny and his dad had a professional way of approaching a sponsor and said, "I have 500 new clients for you," that's a massive win. Hardly anybody running a business would say no to whatever their elevator pitch is right at that point, because and you don't have to have 500,000 followers. You can have that 500 and still execute on what you want.
You're right. I mean, at the end of the day, engagement is important. You got to have great engagement on your page, right, Brad? I mean, that's so important.
100%.
Or content, right? Posting great content is super important. Brad, how hard is it to acquire and get content? Is it a job or is it easy?
Oh, it's full time. I mean, it's literally I make content full time, and sometimes I'm like, man, that's not even like, I didn't feel like that was even good content. But yeah, it's hard, 100%.
Yeah, and going back on sponsorship as well, one thing that people don't think about is, yeah, sure, say Brad has a social, he's he's basically a great racer, but man, nobody likes Brad. If he's winning and he has great social, but people don't like you, you're not gonna.
Yeah.
If you're an a-hole, you're not gonna get sponsors. People sponsor people they like,
right?
And people sponsor people that they know will they'll get a good ROI on.
Yeah.
Okay, that will send money or people to buy their products.
That's a great way to put it too.
Yeah.
And you can have a low amount of followers, but if you have a likable personality and you have a good program and stuff, there's a lot better chance that you're going to have.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you experience going through your social media career, Brad? And for anybody that doesn't know, Brad has done some pretty fantastic stuff, like we talked about in the racing department. But Brad has also gone on to do other media stuff. He's built some fantastic rides. He's won the award for SEMA. I think it was the best built or something like that.
Yeah, he's done a lot. And let me go ahead and bring up another thing. So everybody knows everybody's on video games today, right?
Yep.
And what's crazy is somebody would be super pumped to, get a free game or PlayStation or whatever, and with Brad, or even have a car. Like I build a car, I'd love to have one car on Forza.
Yeah,
right? I'd be stoked. Brad has like 5 cars on Forza.
Whoa,
right?
Look at this!
Like he built the car and then went on Forza. Like, here's freaking Harley, dude. We need another one, man. Frick, man.
Dude.
No, come on, stop.
That is cool, though. And then to go above and beyond that, he's also had a show on Discovery Channel. I think you still do a lot of filming in your YouTube and stuff like that. So the amount of work that he puts in to have value with his social media following is the stuff that we're talking about right now. And you don't have to have all that stuff to be able to get the sponsor, but you have to be able to show what you can provide back to the companies that you're going to ask sponsorship.
But back to that value, okay? He also, so on Forza, can you see any of the logos on any of the cars in Forza? Like any of the cars?
Every one of them.
And what logos and sponsors are on there that you're giving additional love to, above and beyond anything that they weren't even contracted to?
Oh, so that was a freebie.
Yeah, and that's how I feel like that's just how like my dad's kind of raised me with everything. Like I feel like going back, 25, 30 years, even when my dad's been into the industry, it's like if you're working with someone until someone finally like I'm in a position right now to where like I need to be in a race car and now everything costs money, and at first when I was buying the used tires and everything like that, I was so excited to get a discount, and then it became all right, now that's free, and I was just so blessed to be able to accept that. And what I did with every sponsorship up until this day is, anyone that's ever worked with me, I don't care if it's on a build or if it's on racing, I had an agreement, but I just do everything I can for that sponsor, because that's the name of the game. If you're doing another build or another race, you want them to be excited. So if you agreed on whatever 4 posts a year, like to me, I don't even care about that. I would rather say, all right, man, I did, 20 things on social. I did the Forza thing. I did, the TV stuff. I went and, did this event, that event. Like you keep going. And I feel like with all of our partnerships, that's what was so important to my dad and I. Like we have just given and given and given and given, but it also comes back because, you know, that next time I build a car or truck, that company's excited, you know. It's just now it's kind of gotten to the point, you know, racing is not cheap. And I feel like in sponsorship and social media, any industry you're in, you almost kind of need that good cop, bad cop, you know, person, because you need that person that is kind of like the hammer to where they could get someone to help, you know, bring in funds to put you in a race car. But you also need that good cop that's the personality of the brand, you know, that could go out there, shake the hands, have a good time with everyone. And so, yeah, it's just a full happy medium, I think.
Well, I think that you're bringing up a good point, though, is like under promise and over deliver, right? Like, but do that in
100%.
But do that in life in general. The reason that Brad does that for his sponsors is because that's how he is as a person. And so, like, that is a valuable trait for the rest of your life, and the way that you teaching your family and the way that your dad taught you, and, you know, going down the ranks like that. But I mean, it's invaluable for anything that you're doing, because you can't put a price on that, because you're always giving back. I mean, how many people that are listening to the show right now don't want their buddy to bring them lunch? You know what I mean? Like, that's something that doesn't happen. And then Brad's doing the same thing with his sponsors and his partners. And you know what's crazy about it is he started with no sponsors and he was still over delivering.
Yeah, absolutely, even before. So Brad, you know, and I'm not sure how much time we have left with Brad, but
we got a few minutes. I think we got 20 or so.
Okay, well, good. We got plenty to talk about. So, Brad, best way to approach a sponsor? Do you go to SEMA and hand them a deck? Do you go to?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. So, what's the best way?
I know.
Yeah, and tell us why you don't do that, and tell us, you know, what the best approach is to try and build a relationship.
I just feel like that there's always a time and a place, obviously, but I always personally like going up and making like a personal relationship before I am ever like, hey man, here's what I do. Will you sponsor me? Will you sponsor me? Will you sponsor? You know,
I sponsored you, dude. You're in.
Yeah, it's just again, it's all about building a relationship, and you know, the next thing they're gonna ask is, all right, well, show me the proof, and you got to be ready at that time, because if you don't got the proof, they ain't gonna sponsor you. Because thinking about it like this, if you're selling sandwiches and you're gonna sponsor Billy Bob, you know, you're going to expect to get something back.
Yeah.
And if he has no proof or anything like that, then you're probably not going to sponsor that person. So, you know, you got to be prepared, you know, have all your ducks in a row. For me, I just physically did not have any type of pass to make that happen. And so I had to, you know, do everything I can to prove that I needed sponsorship. If you're in that area, reset your mind, because if you're in a race car or if you're on social media, don't just think it's going to all of a sudden take off. Like, make it take off. Like, right. I don't care what you got to do. You're studying people. Like, I study, if I'm in a race car, I go study every single one of my opponents. Why? Because I want to beat them. You know, I don't just want to go race and hope I win. Like, it's just not going to happen. Same thing with the sponsor. You just got to be prepared. You got to be ready. I think outgoing is a huge trait. If you could hit it off with a sponsor, that's probably going to be your best case, because the sponsor, how you talk to the sponsor is how they're going to look at you talking to their customer.
Yep.
You know,
exactly.
If you can't talk to the customer, then you're not going to sell anything. So that's another big thing.
And that's an influencer, right? An influencer is able to influence people to purchase product, right? And so you know, thinking about sponsorship, you know, being prepared. Brad's saying being prepared. If you go to a sponsor and you're like, hey, here's my deck. Someone asks, like, hey, can I see a deck? And you're like, deck? You know, what's a deck? I don't have anything. Well, that's a strike, right? And then let's go ahead and say a sponsor says, yeah, you know, you have a deck, you're ready to get sponsored, you're out there hustling, right? And you give the sponsor a deck, and it you know, talks about what you do and whatnot. But the sponsor says, hey, well, what do I get for $5,000? And you're like, oh, I don't know. You got to have your deliverables ready on what you get, right? And then once you have all your deliverables available to show somebody, you got to follow through. You can't just give them a piece of paper and say, hey, here you go right here. This is what I'm going to do right here.
Or in Brad's case, overachiever over
and
there.
then not do it, right? You want to go in and say, hey, here's my deliverables right here, but here's what I did, right? This is what I did. I did all this too. So that way you can continue that relationship, and they say, hey, you know what? This kid's a good investment.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
And you know, anyone watching, I don't want like this to come off like I'm this, you know, perfect, you know, racer, the social media guy. I do everything perfect. I mean, that's not the case at all. You know, it just literally comes down to working hard. And like you said, Ken, it's if you're gonna show someone what you're gonna do, like, don't just do the bare minimum. I know a lot of people in this world just like, you know, if they're working out their job, they just do exactly what their job says. Like funny example, kind of maybe dumb example. Like if I go to Chipotle, if my dad's watching, he'll laugh right now. But if I go to Chipotle and ask the worker there for a quesadilla, and if they make my quesadilla and put everything right in the center of the quesadilla, right, and then slap another tortilla on it, and now I have to bite like 2 inches of just tortilla before I get to the inside, like I'm mad.
Of
right?
course.
Because why I'm mad is because the person at Chipotle isn't putting in the effort. They're not putting everything to the edge. They're not, you know, making it how they would want it.
Right.
So the point is, if you're doing whatever job you're doing, do it to the best of your potential, because you have no idea that the person you're serving or that person you're talking to, that person could be the piggy bank you need to hop in a car or whatever the next step is.
Right.
That's a good point. Well, let me ask you guys, let's do a little exercise real quick here, Ken. So let's just say that you're the CEO of XYZ company and you make widgets. And you have the opportunity to sponsor myself and Brad. Brad, how are you going to go approach this sponsorship? And then I'll do the exact opposite. You do it how you would do it. If you had met Ken, you already shook his hand one time, and now you have a decent relationship and you want to get sponsored by his widget company.
If first I would in that introduction, I would find out what he enjoys and things like that. And if I found out he had absolutely zero interest in racing, I probably wouldn't approach him, you know. But on the other side, on the social side, if I found out that, you know, there's a chance that I could market for him because I have an audience, that's a different thing. So I might go out after him as, you know, a social media style sponsorship, and I would come to him with facts, and I would, you know, have deliverables, but also, you know, when I'm talking to him, feel him out on the things he would like, you know, as a company to see in someone that he's just giving money to. And, you know, from there, you kind of work back and forth and figure out what that looks like. But I would for sure just be prepared, you know, show him, all right, so if you're whatever paying me $100, here's what you're going to get. And this is going to be bare minimum. And I could show you examples with these 5 sponsors that I made the same thing with.
Yeah.
And I would show him what that is.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic way to approach it. And the reason that I wanted to do this little exercise is because I'm going to be the guy that most people are. And I'm going to walk up to Ken and I'm going to say, hey, Ken, you know what? Did you see me out on the racetrack? Ken's going to say, no, I wasn't paying attention to you. And I'm going to say, well, you know what? I have some room on the side of my car that you can put your logo. And Ken's also going to say no. And then I'm going to say, well, will you sponsor me? I'm doing good. And Ken's also going to say no again. So there's a direct correlation into this little exercise that we're doing. And make sure that you don't do what I just said, because that's the worst thing that you can do.
Absolutely. The sticker on the side of the car is the absolute last thing that you know of a sponsorship. I mean, that's, you know, in my opinion, that's, you know, added value, right? Hey, I'm going to put the sticker on the car or on the rig, right? Everyone's like, oh, I'll put a big old sticker on the rig, put a big old sticker on the car. I mean, that's cool if you're getting massive TV coverage, right? That's cool if you're going out and doing, you know, activations, events. If you're out there, you know, hustling and working. If you're doing the Indianapolis 800 with Brad and doing stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's crazy. You know, Brad just came off of a 3rd place on that. What was that race, Brad?
It was called the Indy 800. It's with Cletus McFarland. He does a series, invites all these huge YouTubers. And again, like I feel like in the YouTube world, like I'm like on the bottom when I go there. So it's kind of fun, to kind of see how everyone is and stuff. But yeah, it's just this race that it's just huge exposure, and all these guys get together and we all race, and everyone kind of makes videos and it works together really. But it's pretty interesting. I think like the old school mindset would have been the opposite of what you just said, Ken. It would have been, all right, let's put the logo on the car and that's the sponsorship, because before social media, that's what it was.
Yep.
But nowadays, I feel like it's broken up really into three things. I feel like obviously it's going to be your skill, because you go after someone like HP Tuners or whoever you're going after, and if you're like, hey man, here's my three traits. I'm a race car driver, but I'm not in the front. Like, they're gonna think twice about it. But if you could back it up, you don't have to be the best race car driver. You could back it up with your social media. So you could be like, all right, so I have my social following. But check it out. If you're a complete awkward person and like can't even talk to anyone, they're also going to say no. They're going to be like, oh, I think it's cool you have a social, but you can't talk to, people. And this is a big thing I see, because, I'll hop on the podium with racers and I'll be like all excited. And the racer next to me is just like, and it's like, you gotta, like, if you're going to be in the industry of being in front of cameras or on, the internet or whatever, you got to loosen up and be social, like be fun, because sponsors, that's like a big thing. So I think it's kind of broken up in those three categories really. Cause again, without being, and I'm not saying like you have to be this perfect, social person. I'm just saying like be talkable to people. So some people can't relay that, just, relaxing a little bit. Cause it is scary. I'm not going to lie, man. When actually Ken made me so nervous.
No, I didn't, dude.
Like the first time, dude, I'm at the race and Ken's he takes his camera. He's all, hey man, so we're going to do this, this, and this. Are you ready? I'm all, yeah, okay.
Yep.
And he takes the camera. He's all right, so at the racetrack, all right, Brad, what do we got? And I'm like,
trial by fire.
I'm like, I'm going to race today. He's all, oh, okay, what else? Yeah, I think that's it. And he stopped the video, and he's
look what you built now, though, Ken.
Man, he's the one that did it, man. I'm just glad to be a small part of what he has going on, or what he did, and it was, it was part of the job, and obviously I got it, and Brad and I, and Doug, and Sandy, and Courtney, it's awesome. We've been friends for years now. It's been coming up on probably 8 years now, right? I mean, It's been a long time, so. Man, it's been a blessing to be able to meet people like Brad and Doug, and just
probably to see them grow.
But Doug was massive before I met him. I mean, he was a Ricky Carmichael. If Ricky Carmichael built cars and won SEMA awards, that's freaking Doug. That's Brad's dad, right? Yeah, and then Doug, Brad was probably the youngest SEMA Young Gun winner, right? I mean, when you built the Raptor, right? So I think he might have been the youngest.
When he got that award, I was jumping up and down. So I was so freaking pumped, man.
Yeah, but it goes back to extra, right? Sure, he was racing, but at that same time, and I don't know if you know,
right?
He was racing at SEMA. He built a truck, and then on top of that, I was like, hey, Brad, we're doing a Lucas Oil demo at SEMA. Can you do it? And, like, he basically brought his truck out there, burned rubber at SEMA, and was just absolutely pinned. Some people can't even just handle walking around SEMA. Man, he was showing his car. He was on interviews. He was freaking doing the demos, signing autographs, hanging out, right? Doing all the things at SEMA, and it was, some people can't even do one. Like I went to SEMA and I was like, and I was smoked.
Yeah,
bringing the Boost Nova, bringing the Nova out there. I was freaking tired. I can't even imagine like driving and signing autographs and doing all the stuff that Brad was doing.
Red Bulls can only take you so far,
dude. Yeah, the wings would have been clipped.
Hey, so let me interrupt you real quick, Brad, because those are all cool things. It's almost 6 o'clock, so we got to get you swap you out for our next guest. But let's see if you and Ken can give us your top 3 things on what you think is most important about getting sponsorship these days. And why don't you go first, Brad?
Um, I mean, social media for sure. I think that's probably the top one. Social media, whatever you're trying to get sponsored for, if it's like an influencer, I guess it would fall in the same category. But if you're trying to be a racer, don't just be a racer. You gotta, force yourself to try and get in that winning mindset and make it happen. So it would just be, I guess, the social media. I guess that would fall into the category of maybe just being like, I used to take the top drivers and just pretend like in my mind, all right, I'm this guy and I want to win. So it's just I guess it'd be mindset. So social media mindset, and the next one is just being prepared. I mean, that's really 100% it. And, that you may not be prepared right when you start. I sure, at the very beginning, we didn't know what we were doing, but I guess it's just, having the thoughts to, pre-do stuff like put logos on the car. That was my 100% my dad. I wouldn't have done that, but I learned from it, so that's just being prepared.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be the top three.
Yeah, man, that's a good one, man. I would say for me is set yourself apart from every other racer, right? How do you set yourself apart, right? If you're not winning like every single race, how can you make your pits look way better than everyone else? How can you have a great social channel? How can you go above and beyond for your sponsors? Can you build like let's go ahead and say a C10 that gets all kinds of attention, right? Man, there's just so many different things. So setting yourself apart from every other guy.
I like that one a lot.
Yep.
That's so true.
Right. So you've got to be different, right? So I mean, and then on social. Sure, you just like, how do you give value to your audience? So you got to give value, right? You got to post great content. You got to respond back to people. You got to go outbound engagement. Go out and engage with, potentially new partners, right? And just be a good person on social. And do all the things that you need to do to capture someone's attention. And man, I guess the last thing I say is just be a great person, right? Try and volunteer for events. Go and go above and beyond, right? If there's a potential partner that you're like courting, go out there and see if you can help them at an event, or just donate your time. I mean, at the end of the day, if you have a Saturday that's free and you can help somebody, then go and help them. And that's setting yourself apart from everyone else, and that goes back to where Brad and Doug were saying, hey, you know what? I'll come and sweep all the grandstands. They set themselves apart from the other 150.
I never knew
races,
that story,
right?
and that that gives me so much more stoke for Brad and all his program that he was doing. Brad, so we had one question come in for you on the live. It said, what kind of cars you got built? I don't know. Maybe how about this? How about what's your favorite car that you own, and what's the favorite car that you built?
I couldn't say I have a favorite car that I own, because all of our cars, I think, I love the same, because they're so different, they're so unique, they're so wild, and we just kind of building something that's, I guess, different from anything that we've ever seen. So I couldn't say I really have a favorite. And what was the second part to that?
What maybe well, I guess it's kind of both the same answer probably. How about the favorite car that you ever drove on an off-road track?
Oh, that's got to be, the Pro Light. There's nothing like, UTV is fun, but there's nothing like being a Pro Light or Pro 2, jumping 200 feet. And, I always loved hitting jumps. And I always say it's like an RC car. You have an RC car and you're driving it. And when you jump that RC car, you could move it in the air, and it's just amazing moving a truck like that, jumping that far. So I would for sure say the short course.
Yeah, that's super cool, man. Hey, first of all, thank you very much for lending so much great knowledge to all of our guests, and obviously to help out other racers and stuff. I appreciate Ken getting you on. One of these days, man, I'd like to go into your backstory. Just the stuff that we've talked about today has really piqued my interest, so I'd love to have you on as a featured guest.
Heck yeah, no, thank you guys so much for having me on, And again, anyone watching, there's a lot of great things that we've achieved, but again, I'm not this perfect person. It's all these stories sound great, but keep in mind, it's all work, and it never stops. So
and
thank
passion.
you guys so much for having me on. Yeah, 100%. Thank you guys.
Yeah, guys, be sure to jump on Brad's channel. It's at Brad DeBerti. Give him a follow, and man, check out and see what he's got going on. And what's your YouTube? It's just at Brad DeBerti, right, on YouTube?
Yep. Yeah. All my channels are just Brad DeBerti.
Dude, got the social game on lock with his name. Well, thank you very much, dude. Please tell your family hi, and we appreciate you taking the time out for all of us and sharing your knowledge.
All right. Same to you guys. Thanks for all the nice words. Appreciate it.
Later.
We'll see you, Brad.
Later.
Thanks, dude.
Later, KJ. Later, guys.
So super cool that Brad was able to join us, man. He shared a wealth of knowledge. Kudos to you, too, for helping him out. All right, so we got Alex Stivoletti going to come on in just about 10 minutes here. We're going to run some commercial breaks over here on the Facebook and YouTube channels. For all you guys on Instagram, you might get a little bit of dead air right here. But feel free to go over there, check out the commercials, and we'll be right back.
My name is Dustin Grabowski. I race for Grabowski Brothers Racing, and we're here at the Mint 400. Motul joined on board about maybe 3 years ago, and ever since they've come onto the team, we've had great success with their oils. Never had any failures due to oil, and it's just super nice to know the peace of mind you have when you're out on the course, not having to worry about engine failure, oil failure. And they also help us with our data. We pull samples out, and they can just let us know what we need to focus on for prepping. We ran it on the dyno, figure out which oils work best with the motor, and it just helps out huge. Having Motul on board definitely gives us a little bit of an advantage. When you're racing in the desert, you don't want to have any oil problems, so we decided Motul would be a good brand to go with, seeing all their success, and they've been a huge help to our team.
Zollinger Racing builds the best aftermarket products available. Products for your UTV or snowmobile, including billet radius rods, billet tie rods, billet steering knuckles, billet steering racks, alternator kits, and much more. All manufactured in the United States in-house at their headquarters in Nibley, Utah. Travis Zollinger and his team test in some of the most brutal conditions, racing in places like the Best in the Desert Mint 400, Ultra 4 King of the Hammers, UTV World Championships, and many more. Visit ZollingerRacingProducts.com and use the code DIRTLIFE to get 10% off your next purchase, and join us on social media at Zollinger Racing Products to see our products in action. Zollinger Racing, the best products, period.
Yeah, guys, welcome back to episode 129 of the Dirt Life Show. Today we're talking social media and sponsorships. We got some fantastic guests. We just had Brad DeBerti on. So much good information from basically one of you guys. Started from the bottom and worked his way up in racing and obviously building and stuff like that. Now we got, obviously one of the legends, a guy that's helped everybody, including myself and Brad, Ken Johnson, sitting here next to me. So I appreciate you coming in and hanging out, Ken.
I appreciate the pump up, man. I don't know about legends, but man, I'm out here, just trying to get my little.
Dude,
piece
it was
out
cool
here,
to see today. We're gonna get Alex Stivoletti from Holly Brands over here in just a second. Holly Brands is a massive company, but it was cool to see you today, reminiscing a little bit with the guys over here at IMG Motorsports, John Pacheco and James Hill. It was like memory lane.
Man, you know what's crazy? With John, man, we go back with those guys all the way back till the Durlines days. And what's crazy is, early, probably 07 with the UTVs, the Yamaha Rhino, dude. I mean, those guys go back all the way to the beginning, infancy of.
Dude, OGs.
Yeah, those dudes are OGs right there. So it was cool to see them and James and John and still doing well. They got a shop full of machinery. They're all there.
It's crazy how big this place is, right?
Yeah, they got all kinds of vehicles in here they're working on. I mean, stacked, so. It's really cool, but I see Dennis from 7MX. Dennis runs everything over at 7, so with James and Malcolm and all the guys, Roger and those guys. So, man,
super cool, dude. You're bringing the heat. All kinds of new guests for the Dirt Life Show, man. So thanks for being social and sharing all this stuff with our audience too. Julie Groom, hello. So we're going to wait just a couple minutes here, and we're going to get Alex Stivoletti on. Alex, if you're watching right now, go ahead and send a request over, and we'll accept you and get you on here, buddy. Or actually, I can probably try to request him.
Yeah, you know what? He's probably on right now.
I can go over here and request him, too. So it'll be cool to talk with him. I've never met Alex before, but you said he's a super good dude, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, we got some good stories to tell, so I can't wait till he jumps on. But, we've been together doing stuff for a bit, and learning off of each other, and man, I've been fortunate to have a guy like him, as a partner. So
there we go. So looks like I don't know if he's got a bad internet connection, but it looks like he's trying to log on with us here. So there we go. Alex Stivoletti, how are you, buddy?
Good. How you guys doing?
Very nice to virtually meet you. Ken has got a lot of good things to say about you. A couple bad things that we won't talk about, but
ain't nothing bad.
Yeah, he's gotta have some of them.
What's rad about Alex? Alex is a moto guy. He rides Harleys, he rides moto. He had an adventure bike. He's just like us, but lives in Kentucky.
Oh, lives way out there in Kentucky, huh? Yeah. Okay, so maybe give us a little bit of background on what Alex does professionally, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, so I met Alex. What year was that? What year did we meet? Was it like 15?
Man, probably 2016, 2016, 2017,
Yeah,
something like that.
so Alex worked at a brand called Detroit Speed, right? And I had a brand called Muscle Kings, and we did a bunch of car events and social media.
car guys.
Right? Yeah, so we had a couple million, 3 million followers on Instagram, and one of the things I wanted to do was build this Chevy Chevelle. I had a '71 Chevelle. I was like, okay, yeah, I want to build it. I started acquiring parts. Same thing, utilizing the network and utilizing my social to try and acquire sponsorship. And so I reached out to Alex and I said, hey Alex, how can I, and we built a relationship. How can I be a part of this Detroit Speed? How can I get suspension? So we went back and forth. We created a program with deliverables so that way I can help grow the Detroit Speed channel.
Yeah.
And with that, I did all the work up front. I said, okay, you know what, Alex, don't send me anything. Okay, I'm gonna do all the work up front, and did all the work, help build, followers and build awareness, to Detroit Speed, and halfway through, Alex just sent me the stuff. He's like, hey, dude, you're already doing it. Yeah,
were there.
The results are right. I mean, Alex, is that what happened?
And exactly, and my perspective, because I started out at Detroit Speed working in our project shop. And I was new to marketing. I jumped in and started doing our social media. And one of the things we were focused on was we wanted to grow the brand and build some brand awareness. So when Ken reached out and I was like, this guy, I went to my boss and I was like, this guy wants to do all this work up front. And I was like, let's just let him do it and see what happens. And like Ken said, halfway through the program, we could instantly see the results coming in. So I was like, hey man, what's the address? Let's get some stuff sent out to you. And yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how it started.
Yeah, and so what was crazy, so, I had the Chevelle, and I ended up selling the Chevelle, and I had all these parts, and I already did all my work. So I did all my deliverables, did everything I was supposed to do to acquire these parts, so my debt was paid, right? But it's never really paid. So, but, my deliverables that I said I was going to do was done. So I ended up selling the Chevelle, and I had these parts just sitting in my garage. And I was like, okay, and I came across, and I ended up purchasing a Nova, which is funny because it, when I was at Lucas Oil, there was this Nova in the back in our warehouse, and I was going to buy it. I didn't. Robert Wilson, the next guest, ended up purchasing it. It went to Jerry Zayden of Camberg, and then from there he did some stuff, and then basically I ended up purchasing it, bringing it to my place, and I called Alex. And I was like, hey, I got a Nova now.
Nice.
so
he's probably like, sweet, dude, you guys send it all back.
So yeah, we sent it all back, and then basically Alex said, okay, you know what, we're going to take care of you, and basically, long story short, we ended up putting all that Detroit Speed suspension on my new Nova, and man, now $300,000 later, and I'm here with this friggin' Nova.
That's the way it works, though. But I think the thing that we're pulling out of that story is that he had some very good deliverables. He was able to execute on those, and you guys saw it, so you guys accepted whatever he was doing next, which is kind of what Brad said too.
Yeah, and talking about hard work, right? Hard work pays. This guy right here, he started at the very bottom of Detroit Speed, worked his way up. Detroit Speed got acquired by Holley, okay, and then basically he moved up into another position at Holley. Moved the whole family out to Bowling Green. He was living in North Carolina near Brad. They were really close together in North Carolina. He just basically moved his whole family over to Holley, and now he oversees all the brands. Right? I mean, is that what you do? So I'm gonna go ahead and let you explain what your job is and what you do.
Yeah, cool. So my role is I'm the social media manager, and recently also took over management of influencers as well. So went from Detroit Speed, which is one brand, to Holley, which is we're probably just at 70 brands right now, and we're not stopping either. We're going to keep going. But yeah, it was just like culture shock, just thrown right into it. Like, hey, we saw what you're able to do at Detroit Speed and the program you built there. Like, we're doing the same thing at Holley, and how can we optimize this program, make things better, bring in a little more organization, and just make it, as successful as the program was at Detroit Speed. Because, when I started at Detroit Speed, marketing was one person. There was just one person handling everything. And then they said, we need social media. This is what's big right now. This is how we sell product. This is how we get people to know who we are. So we invested everything we could into that, built our page up. I think I took it from, I think our Facebook was like 40,000 followers, took it up to like 300,000 in a couple of years, and, built up the Instagram as well. Just got as much brand awareness as we could so we can then dial back and focus on, how do we sell product now? People know who we are, but, how do we bring revenue in and start making money? That's ultimately what it all comes down to.
It's pretty crazy that you can actually do that. Like, whenever I think of that, because there's so many racers and individuals that come up to me, and you can lend a little bit more advice to this, Alex, but that say, well, how do I build my social media? And first I want to say, like, it's not always about numbers. Numbers when you're an individual are less important than numbers when you're a brand, right? Because the more numbers you have when you're a brand, the more products you can sell. But if you're an individual and you're going out and looking for sponsorships, and like I said before, if you have 500 people that are following you, it's not a massive number. But if you go to a company like Alex's company and you say, hey, you know what? I can talk to every single one of these 500 people, and potentially at least 20% of them are going to go buy. Alex is going to say, sure, I know what the value of that is to me. I'll do this for you if you can get some of those people to buy that product. Like, it's a pretty fair trade when it comes down to that, because you're still offering 450 new sales for Alex.
And that goes back to tell us your term of what an influencer means, right? And what's important to get a sponsorship. Like, if I come to you and I approach you and I say, hey, Alex, can you sponsor, I'm looking to get sponsored. What are you looking at?
Right. And, luckily with Holly, we have such a great team. It's not just myself. I have Hunter and Sophie and Cody, and then Scott Kirk, who just joined our team as our influencer relations coordinator. So he's going out there trying to find people as well. But, as we have our team that manages different social media accounts, we have the mentality of there's no influencer that's just straight up too small. We don't look at it that way. We have different levels of influencers that we work with. You have, nano influencers, micro influencers, and then, your big hitters. So we don't really, we look at the number and we can see, okay, that's the potential audience, but we check across the board. That's your Instagram. What's your TikTok look like? What does your YouTube look like? Are you big on Facebook? Do you do Twitter? We look at the entire, your whole entire space, all of your social presence, and we build out what your audience looks like. But to us, the most important thing is what value can you provide? Because we don't throw the term sponsorship around. Every person that we work with, it's a partnership. We want it to be mutually beneficial. We can supply you with the products that you need to build your dream car, but what value can you provide to us? Can you bring more people in and have more people purchase product of ours? We have some smaller guys that we work with, and only a couple thousand followers, but when you have someone that has such a small audience like that, they're focusing on such like a niche market. So, you can have a guy that's like, I only do like classic Bronco stuff. Like, that's all I work on. So everyone that follows him because he only does classic Bronco stuff. So we know if we're trying to sell classic Bronco parts, that's the guy we want to work with, because everybody looks to him for advice and they want to know, hey, whatever that guy's doing, I want to do the same thing.
Yeah, that's 100% true, because you already have your goal, you have your forecast, you have your stuff that you're looking forward to, and if they can be a little part of that to help you achieve that goal, then that aligns right up with what the partnership would be.
Exactly. Yeah, we want to, because Holly we're very broad. We have focuses everywhere: hot rods, pro touring cars, off-road, everywhere.
Electric.
Exactly, electric as well. Yeah, Holly High Voltage coming out to Sonoma in July. But we want to make sure that we are in front of as many different niche markets as we can possibly be in front of, because we have something that serves everybody.
Yeah.
We have a ton of stuff for pro guys too. So, it's just, we want to be everywhere.
So I agree with that wholeheartedly, and I'm going to get off subject a little bit here because I want to bring up a real-life situation that I went through. So I brought Supercuts, a non-endemic sponsor, into the off-road world. The way that I did that was I got introduced to one of the general managers in my local region that she managed 50 or so of the retail stores for Supercuts. I got introduced to her, and I started working with them to help them establish some different computer stuff in their locations. I asked her, I said, would you guys be interested in supporting an off-road racing thing because I was into off-road. I wanted to get into it. And she said, no, that has zero value for us. What are you talking about? I said, well, then what would you do if I rode a bicycle and I was able to change some lives and help some people? She said, well, maybe. I'll give you like $500. She gave me $500 for the first year. I went out and paid for half of my bicycle. I worked for 4 years. During that 4-year process, I was able to go and influence some people in the stores. I was able to, before social media, I was able to get on radio campaigns in the local radio station. And what we did was we ended up offering me to race a bicycle at a 111-mile bicycle race. And if I finished in under 8 hours, Supercuts in the whole southwest Arizona region would offer haircuts for $8. So it scared the crap out of them as a company, but we came up with this deal. We went on radio and we did all this stuff, right? Because haircuts were $11 at the time, so they would have lose a lot of money. And I smoked it. I got it in 6 hours and 30 minutes. But we did so much good work on the front end and so much awesome work on the back end that they increased sales by almost 33% for the next year. So it was hundreds of thousands of dollars and hundreds of thousands of new customers into their stores. So then when I went and asked and I said, hey, you know what? I'd like to start an off-road racing program now. And she goes, you know what? Let me see what I can do. And they ended up paying for half of the off-road program for me. And it worked out fantastic. It ended up being a bad situation because at the corporate level, they cut everything. They cut charities. They cut everything. So that sponsorship halted. But during that time, I was able to learn and I was able to see all the payback that we did for those locations. And, they only gave me a few $1,000s compared to what I made for them. But it goes back to what Brad said, and it goes back to what you guys are saying, under promise and over deliver.
Absolutely.
100%.
So,
hey,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, you look at exactly what you did. You said, hey, I want to do this. They said no. And then you went smaller, and then you showed them that you're willing to put in the work and that you can bring results. And then once you brought those results in, they're like, yeah, it's a no-brainer to work with this guy again. So we have the same mentality with what we do.
And do you guys see that? Because nowadays it's a little bit different, right, than the series that I went through. But, you have people that you sponsor that are good racers, local racers. You have influencers. You have brand ambassadors, all of these different things. Do you qualify all of them the same way?
No, we don't. There's different levels on how we do things. We built out these guidelines on how we operate with different people based upon, prior relationships. We get a lot of cold calls too. People that just come in and they're like, hey, I want to work with Holly. And most cases, what we do is we take in people that are already customers, because this day and age, building a vehicle, it's honestly a little difficult to not use any type of Holly product in your build, because we have so many different brands and so many different products that we offer. So a lot of the times we're taking people that are already existing customers, and, we know that they're buying our stuff anyway. So if we're able to offer an incentive to work with us as an official partnership and then spread the word about actually working with us, then we can build from there. A lot of people will bring in and we'll offer, our partner, like a marketing partner pricing, we'll give them a discount. And then if they go above and beyond and they show us they can put in the work, and then we can escalate that to a different level of discount, or, potentially even free product, depending on what the deliverables are and how the campaign went. Most cases we'll work with someone that builds one single car, and then, they get bit by the bug. They're like, I need to build something else, or I tried drifting. Now I want to go build a drift car. So if they put in the work on the first build we worked with, and now they're like, hey, I got a second one I want to do. If you put in the work and it was very successful and you were able to show us what you brought to the table and what value you have, then we're more likely to work with you again.
Yeah, like you were saying,
Awesome.
Ken, putting in the work.
Yeah, and just a situation that happened today. I've got a lift at my house, right? A lift that goes in my garage, a car lift.
Yep.
And
just like the one back behind us at IMG here.
A Ben pack, right? And today, I ended up purchasing it. I bought it. I didn't reach out. I didn't, say, hey, give me a discount, give me this, give me that. I just purchased it. But they have an ambassador program on their page that says, hey, if you want to be an influencer or ambassador, right, go ahead and write up. And what I told them was, like, hey, you know what? I purchased this lift. I'm a big fan of your product, and I'm hoping to, be a part of your program. And here's my social channels. Here's my reach. This is what I got going on. And you know what? If I get a call back, man, awesome. If I don't, it's fine. I've got something. I'll just buy my stuff. But at the same time, you got to show brands that, hey, you know what? I'm gonna put in the effort rather than just calling a brand and saying, hey, I don't have any of your product. Can you give me stuff? Can you just give it to me for free?
Yeah, 100%. Rob from Warfighter Made is actually a fantastic ambassador for that stuff. So before he approaches any companies, he says, you know what? I'm going to buy the product, test it out, and support them, and then I'll call them and ask them and say, hey, you know what? We bought some of your products. It's fantastic. Like, I would love to work with you guys.
Absolutely. So I'm as soon as my lift is up, I'm going to make sure that I, capture great content.
Yep.
After I capture the great content, then, hey, you know what? I'm going to shoot them the content so they can use on their social. And because content costs money, it's not easy to get. So, I'm going to basically, put my best foot forward and see what happens, right?
What are some of the things that you look at, Alex? Like you kind of gave us a little bit of a baseline of how you go through to make sure that somebody fits in the program properly. But specifically, let's just say that I come up to you and I met the first qualification and I was a supporter of the product and I was a nice guy. What's the next thing that we are going to go through to help me get a relationship or a partnership with Holley Brands?
What I'm going to do is I'll run, kind of like a social background check. I'll jump in there and I'll want to see, what's your reach? What's your engagement rate? How, are you going back? Are you commenting on your posts? Are you doing the outbound commenting? Like, how active are you in your community? That's incredibly important because, if we have a bunch of people that are just like, hey, I bought this, this Holley ECU, and they make a post and then they never go back and read the comments and they never engage with people, that's lost value on our part, because what if there's people in those comments that are asking questions?
Yeah.
Like, hey, why did you do that? Or what are you doing with it? And then, we want people to be, ambassadors for what we do. If you don't know the answer, you say, hey, that's a great question. Let me get you in touch with the right person. And then they could tag Holley, and then Holley will jump in and we'll start answering questions for people too. So, just there needs to be, engagement is incredibly important, more than followers. You could have such a small following, but if you're replying to every single person in there and you're creating conversation, that means the world to us.
Yeah, and sorry, Ken. Like one of the things that I want to relate that to is imagine going up and talking to somebody that walks up to you and says, hey, you know what? I like your shoes. And you just turn around and walk away. It's the same exact thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so don't be that guy that walks away.
That's exactly. That's an analogy, right? I use the same thing. There's a couple guys. Sean White's on here, and he's a great example of someone that built his social, from zero. He's a 55-year-old U.S. Veteran,
nice.
Right? And he has a pro
Sean.
touring, car. Yeah, thank you, Sean. And it's funny because he started off same deal, just not posting the correct content, and next thing you know, he's like trying to figure it out. I gave him a bunch of advice, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna just do it my way. And then he's like, and then it didn't work out, and then finally he's like, Ken, all right, let's go ahead and jump into it. And basically, he did the guideline. I said, hey, do these things, and now he's got 30,000 followers. He has, he got flown to Florida and a couple different places. He's getting free parts from Jegs and here and there.
Hey, if it's cool, I'm going to take some advice from him, dude.
And I think he's even a Holley guy, right? I mean, you guys even helped him at Holley, so.
The same thing. So he's putting in this work telling, hey, Sean, here's what you need to do. And so then Ken reaches out to me and he's like, hey, here's my buddy Sean. He's looking for some stuff on his car. What are you able to do? Talk to Sean, figure out the project, what he's doing. We happen to have a new product that we just came out with that fits perfectly on his car. So I'm like, hey, let's do this. And Sean, we sent him the stuff throughout the process. He's sending me pictures. He's posting about it. It's funny because now he's talking about his car being on the no-carb diet because he's going ahead and he's getting rid of the carburetor, and he's throwing on that Holley EFI. And then it was another thing where he did so great that when we launched, we now have a 5-inch digital dash for our Sniper EFI unit. And we were like, hey, we need to get some photos of this. We need to get it in front of people. We need to get it in their hand. I reached out to Sean because we needed to get content on this, and he did such a great job for us. I'm like, you know what? I'll send it to him because I know he's going to put in the work and he's going to get us what we need.
Dude, big shout out to Sean. That's super cool. Yeah, and so I have another story that's kind of like that too. So I was racing a Yamaha YXZ professionally. with some support from Yamaha in 2016 and 17. And talked with Lawson Malika at AEM, and I said, hey, you know what, how can we help with the stuff that you guys have going on? And he said, honestly, man, the off-road stuff's a little foreign to us. And I said, well, like, let's work together. And for, I don't know, let's just say a year or so, he wasn't interested in being part of the program. And then all of a sudden it came up that he needed to develop stuff for a Yamaha YXZ. And I said, all right, cool, we just got a brand new car. Let's send it over there. We took it over there. We did all kinds of video. We did promotion about it. We were able to showcase the products during the install. We did a big, cool install video with it. It was fantastic to be able to work with a Holly Brands company, AEM, and help out with that build portion of it, man. And just cataloging it and working with the people was my favorite part. The support was second.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and we love doing it too, because we find a whole bunch of people that are experts in their field. I mean, drag racing for us is like our bread and butter. We have a ton of people that we work with in the drag racing area, but we're expanding all over the place. So we're looking for people everywhere. Like I'm working with Simon at Trophy Borough with some Stilo and some Simpson stuff, getting him up with safety for his off-road program. So it's, we're all over the place. And it's like I said, we have everything now. You want to go racing, we'll make you go fast. And if you want to do it safe, we've got Simpson products to get you, get all the gear, get the helmet, harnesses, whatever you need.
Yeah. So, big safety guy right here.
Absolutely. You got to have it. I mean, with this day and age, it's dangerous. I mean, we have a few people we work with that we had Amelia Hartford's car at Holly LS Best West, and they had a little bit of a fuel fire. But, everyone, we jumped in, we got so everything, we're all safe, because safety is number one. It's great to go out and have fun, but if you're not doing it safely, when you're younger, you think you're invincible, but as you get older, you realize, hey, like, this is pretty stupid. So, it's always best to have fun, but do it safely.
I want to give a shout out to Lucas. You can see the Boxo stuff in the background, and Kara as well. Kara's part of the Warfighter Made crew, too.
Nice.
She's out there racing. We call her Full Pepper because she's wide open wherever she goes, dude.
Nice. What up? What up, Kara? What up, Lucas? Man, good people over there at Boxo USA. Great product. Obviously, you got this in the background, and I got Boxo at home, and man, it's really solid stuff.
Yeah, so Cali Boy AZ Tech just commented in. He said really loves all the Simpsons stuff. So let's give a little bit of more of an understanding of the topic that we were just talking about, like how I approach you when I'm going to get the sponsorship with any of the Holly brands. Let's just say AEM and Simpson. Let's use those two because those are close to our off-road world hearts, right? If I want to go up and get a driving suit sponsorship from Simpson, and I say, Alex, you know what? Let's make a suit for me. I'm going to be on the podium all the time. What does that do for you?
Where are you going to be on the podium? How many times you're racing? What's your social media look like too? Like what can we do to strengthen, that part of the relationship? We want to know, it's great that you're going to be on the podium all the time, but like what are you racing in? Are there other people that, we could potentially, they see you on the podium and they're like, I want that suit. Like, how many people are you racing with? We want to know, like, what's your discipline? Is that a market we need to be in? Because, we have a ton of guys that we sponsor within the NHRA, and we have those team deals. So, we already have the top dogs on there. So, like, what makes you stand out? Are you going to be, hitting the weekend warrior? Are you going to try and get all those guys to get your suits? Just what's your overall plan?
Yeah, that makes total sense. Okay, that gives me some good advice, too, because I wouldn't have approached it that way.
And just being educated. You know what's really cool about Alex? He's educated in the V-twin market, the moto market, the off-road truck market, the friggin' pro touring market, the pro street market, drag, you name it. This guy knows pretty much. He's well-versed in it. He could jump into any room and just have a conversation with anyone. So I guess being able to flow and talk to people and have, great topics to talk about really helps.
So you're saying if I'm ever in Kentucky and I need a co-host for the Dirt Life, he's our guy?
Yeah, he's solid, man. You might be able to get into Holly right there. You know some people over there.
Yeah, well, that is a really good way to look at it, though, because that means that he's not shutting the door, right? He's keeping an open mind because that's how he's going to be successful in his position. And I think a lot of guys that are in his position, a marketing position, a social media position, all of these things in different companies, they're open to understanding what you have as value to offer because it's something that could potentially benefit them. But if you come at them with the wrong things, they're going to probably say no. So I'm glad that you're giving us a little bit of advice on how we can approach people like you.
And the biggest thing too with us is we never straight up say no. Most of the time it's, hey, we appreciate you reaching out. Here is X, Y, and Z on why, we're unable to work with you at this time. If you work on this, we could potentially have a partnership in the future. Whether it's, you need to clean your content up, if it's just something where we can't have that association, or if, you have the heart is there, but, we have some people that reach out to us that only have like 50 to 100 followers. And we don't always just look at that number. If you have 100 followers, your account's fairly new, you're just starting out, we'll say, hey, like, give it some time, get some content out there, start showing us what you're capable of and what your page is going to look like. And then we can readdress it later. We never want to just shut one out. We want to be open to everything that we can possibly do. Because, that one person that if you're just like, hey, no, I don't want to work with you, you're too small. What happens if that person blows up and then you're like, hey, we want to work with you? And they're like, well, remember when I reached out before and you just said no? We never want to have that. We just want to leave. We don't shut the door. We leave it cracked open a little bit. So, if there's ever an opportunity where you want to come back, like, we're here. We could make something happen if it's going to be beneficial for both of us. And we always link. Go ahead.
How do you go above and beyond and get noticed, right? How do you do the extra to get noticed?
Can I answer that first? You mind?
Go ahead.
So, like, we have a perfect example. Graves Motorsports is a street bike company. They were trying to get in the side-by-side industry. They made exhausts for the Yamaha YXE that I drove at the time. And I had maybe 2,000 followers, 1,500 followers when I first started racing them. And there was a massive team that was a factory Yamaha supported team, and I wasn't supported by Yamaha just yet. I was getting my way through the door, and they had, been on the top dog. They were selling the most exhaust for this company, and they had tracked it by affiliate codes and stuff like that. And I said, all right, you know what? I'm going to try to see how many exhausts I can sell. So the next year, I doubled what they were making in exhausts and sold all of those exhausts for them. And they said, George, you know what? Next year, whatever you need, you'll be our top guy. And I left a car there. They used it as a development car. We had a perfect relationship. It was fantastic for us to be able to see that, because all I had to do was utilize my very small social media reach and sell as many exhausts as I could, and it worked.
Absolutely, man. It's going the extra mile, man.
Yeah.
The extra mile.
Hey, we had a comment come in for you, Alex. He from Don Haugen. He said, how do you track ambassador value to converted revenue at Holly? Our team offers a PO code to our sponsors and partners. It tracks our influencing to sales and can be measured at any time by the manufacturers. Is that something that you look for?
Absolutely. I mean, if there's someone that approaches us and they say that they track all of their links and they'll be able to tell us what their revenue is, I mean, if you can prove to me that you're going to put in that kind of work, it's going to put you above everyone else, because it's like, hey, you know that you can provide some value, but you want to actually tell us what that value is. So when we operate the same way, we track everything. So we're always looking at what's going on. And it's not just a matter of like, we don't just track links. And I mean, we can track links and tell you what the revenue is all day long. But, the thing that may surprise a lot of people is, all of the influencers that we work with, as soon as we send product out the door and I get that notification and I know that influencer has that product, I watch their channels. And like, I'll even come home at night and I'll sit on YouTube and I'll watch influencer videos and I'll see our boxes in the background. I'm like, what's going on there? Are you going to open that? Are you going to talk about it? So we watch everything. And then I'll reach back out to these people and say, hey, watch your video. That looks awesome. And we're being proactive. We're reaching out before they say, hey, I just posted this. You can say, hey, I just posted this video. And I'm like, I know. I saw it.
Dude,
I watched it. It was great.
Right when he's saying this, just to put out a little dad joke, I feel like Sneaky, the butler on Mr. Deeds. Like, he just knows everything that's going on. Dude. He's right there, dude.
He's on it. He's on it, man. I don't know how you find time. And he has an amazing wife, Christina, and
let's give her a shout.
Yeah. His daughter Emma is really, really. I mean, and again, just being able to find time, on top of you got your stresses of work, you got your family life, and then you got social media never sleeps, right? I mean, does it go to sleep?
That's actually a good point to bring up, though,
No.
Ken.
No.
Social media doesn't sleep. We talk about this a lot, Alex, and you can tell me the value of the human spirit, we'll call it, and understanding that you're not just the face of a product. You're not just a pocketbook, right? Like, you are the same as all of us. You have a family. You have things to do. You have, a moral code. You have all of these different things. So, not that you like when people butter you up, but you like when people are real. You like when people are engaged. You like when they're a good person, right? Because if they were a crappy person, you probably wouldn't want to have anything to do with them.
Exactly. Yeah. And so having a spirit and being personable is extremely important. I know Brad touched on it a bunch, and it is true because honestly, I'm fortunate to be in the position I'm in because my job is literally to sell products to people that are just like me, because I'm also a Holley customer. I work there, but everything I own has something Holley on it because I'm a car guy. I love off-road stuff. I love, just old muscle cars, motorcycles. Like, I love everything. So I love just talking to people, and I want to hear, like, what's your project? What are you working on? And if I ask someone, hey, what are you working on? And they light up and they can tell me everything about their build. They have a great story with it. Like, I know if you get that excited to talk about your project, you're doing the same thing on social media. You're going to be as excited to go out and tell the world what you're working on. And then when you get a new part for it, that's like the best thing in the world. I love, even though I work at Holley, every time I order a part and it shows up at my door, it's the most exciting thing ever because I know I'm getting to put something new on my car. I'm going to have fun. I might throw a couple wrenches. It might be like the worst day ever, but when it's done, it's fantastic and I love it. So if someone's that enthusiastic about, their pride and joy, we want to see that come out. If you're like, oh, I'm working on this car, it's nothing special. Why is it nothing special? Like, that should be your world. If this is your hobby and this is your passion, we should obviously see that.
Yeah, 100%. And plus, though, like, if you throw a socket wrench and you lose the 10 millimeter, the Boxo guys got you covered because they got another 10. They got a double 10 millimeter in their set, dude. So we're gonna have Robert on in a little bit.
They got you dialed. But yeah, man. I mean, I think
we've actually a good shout out for Boxo too. We've actually got our video studios fully equipped with all Boxo tools and toolboxes, and we've got that 10 millimeter set.
Got it on lockdown. What were you gonna say, Ken?
No. But just going back to some of the stuff you were saying, and one of the things that I feel too is just family. Family's super important, and everybody in your family being a great person, right? Because every person on your team represents you, right? So say I'm the influencer, I'm the guy racing. Everybody on the team, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, my cousin, uncles, crew members, everybody needs to be on that same level. Yeah. I got one person that's an a-hole. He may ruin it for everybody, right? So that's where the team comes into place, right? And man, people that I'm like, man, these people are really great people. So obviously the DeBertis. Yep. And DeBertis are fantastic. The Povortis, that family is freaking amazing. Christopher, his whole family is incredible.
And a wheelman.
Right. And he's sick, right? The Berries going above and beyond. Connor Berry, he's young, but man, what he's doing, he's got his online race series, and man, he's killing it. The kid's only 16 years old, and he owns an online race series. Yeah. Right, the future. So again, going above and beyond, extra stuff. So going the extra mile.
When we're talking about extra stuff, do you have any things that you look for? Like, let's just say I do want to approach you right now, and I ask questions. I say, hey, you know what, Alex? I'm looking to maybe see if I can have a partner next year again for safety equipment. Can you tell me what you guys have going on that I could help with for next year? And then I take that information and do with what I will?
Absolutely. That's actually, honestly, one of the best ways to do it because, the way it works now, when we launch a new product, we're looking for people that we can utilize to help spread the word about that product. And, I think that's kind of the industry standard. A lot of people do the same thing. So if you say, hey, I have this vehicle, do you guys have anything in the works for it? anything I could assist with, of course we can. Because as soon as we are finished with that and we're doing a production run, who's going to be the first person we're going to reach out to and say, hey, this person has a vehicle that this part fits on. Let's get it sent out to them. Then we can get, it could help us too. We could send it out and we can get real-time feedback. Hey, instructions were great. The install was easy, but maybe, I have a suggestion on this, and we take all that stuff to heart. We're always open to suggestions, and that's how new products get made. We send it out and we put it in the real world. People use it, people abuse it, and then it also tells us where we could make changes. So it's always great to know that, people that are forward thinking and they're like, hey, I know, this is what I'm doing and how can I help? If you're coming to us and you're saying you want to help us, you're not just looking for a handout, you're not just looking to save a couple bucks. Like, that this is actually something you can utilize in your program, whether it's racing or street driving. If you know that there's going to be a huge benefit to you, but you want to also help out the rest of the community, we always take feedback like that. And if you're always willing to take that approach of, I want to help you and I want to, help spread the word and give you some actual real life feedback, we definitely, we look at you more when you do stuff like that, because then we know, hey, this is when, we just did like update number 1 on this part, and then we do another round of updates on it. We're like, hey, we just made a quick change. Like, tell us what you think about it. And you can, pretty much help our engineering and product development team on a higher level.
That's super cool.
And what's, I guess the question for you is when does that obligation, end, or, how long is that obligation? You give me a set of heads, you give me a set, you give me a Holley sniper kit, right? And I do a write up, and I, basically I try to get it out there. What's I guess what's expected, and how long is that expectation, and when's that end?
Very good question.
It varies. It can be, it's all over the place. It really depends on that certain situation, because like something like an EFI kit, you have the longevity of it where, years down the road, if you're still running it on your car and you put like 50,000 miles on it, that's a milestone that we want to go back and be like, hey, this person they're running this sniper on their car. They did 50,000 miles, went all over the country, trouble-free operation. And then I may say like, hey, since you had that achievement, like, let's send out a video crew. Let's get a testimonial. Let's talk about your experience. So like, like the agreement I had with Ken, we sent him out the stuff for the Nova probably 3 or 4 years ago. And, you're an ambassador for Detroit Speed as long as you own that car. And then if at any point you decide, hey, I'm done with this car, I want to move on to the next one, and you sell it, which I'm praying you never do because that thing is gorgeous.
Yeah, dude.
If you sell it, the new owner is going to be an advocate for us too, because they're going to go out and they're going to use it. Like a prime example, Project Corner Horse, Tom's old Mustang that we've worked on at Detroit Speed, got painted at Dutch Boys, and it was Holley's Mustang. They sold that car, and the new owner of that car goes out to quarantine cruise. He still tags Holley in it because, that car was built to showcase new Holley products for Coyote Swap. And even though it's under new ownership, he's still out using it. So we can still post about it because he's still using all that product, and he's being an advocate for our brand because he's still tagging us in it.
Yeah, totally. So I like that, because that means that it gives me a little bit of advice that I can offer to some of the people that are watching. And that's get creative with your content, right? Like if you see something like, let's just say, we'll use the fuel injection that you were talking about. Let's just say, oh man, you know what? I just got 50,000 miles. And you post something like that. That's going to be, Alex just said he sees everything. If you post and you tag Holley and you say, I just had this milestone, that's going to be interesting to him. He's going to appreciate that whether you are or aren't an ambassador for the company. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and going back, building my car, and this was years ago, and so I ended up doing like renderings for my car, right? So before it was built, I did some digital renderings, and we did something a little bit different. We did some renderings that were motion renderings that looked like the car was done already.
Nice.
It was pretty awesome. I felt like we were ahead of our time, right? Everyone was doing, hand drawing renderings or digital renderings like with art. So we did some 3D, motion renderings of the car, photo renderings, and really that's what we had to push out. And one of the things I'm pretty proud of is Alex was able to take one of the renderings, put it on Detroit Speed's Facebook, and it was the highest viewed video in the entirety of the page of the channel, right?
I can guarantee you it still is.
That's insanely cool. Yeah, and you never know, right? Like, you don't know what's gonna like hit. I mean, you can have a good idea, but still, like, that's insanely cool. Hey, so not to interrupt that subject, but Don Haugen, the same guy that asked the question before, I can answer this question a little bit, but he says, does Holley offer any products for the side-by-side market? If no, will they ever jump into the market? If so, we would like to promote them in our racing organization. He's the one that was talking about analytics and stuff like that before. So Don, you can go on their website and you can check out all of the brands that Holley has as subsidiary brands underneath the parent company, and you can look. They Alex already said that they offer Simpson safety gear. They offer AEM products, which will be a direct replacement to some of the instrument panels on your guys' Polaris Razors, like plug-and-play stuff. So there's a bunch of stuff that you can check out there, and then if obviously any of that stuff matches up with your racing program, then there's the ways that Alex just said you can approach him.
And this is some advice for some of the racers out there. Okay, let's go ahead, and Don, you included. Let's go ahead and say your budget's $200,000, right? Take 10% of that and put it towards decks. Put it towards building your social content creation, right? Put it towards building yourself. You're investing in yourself, and that's where a lot of people they fail. They're like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to buy some more tires, or I'm going to buy an extra motor. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy that. Right? Invest in yourself to build your program. Right?
Yeah, we had a very small program. It was right around $200,000 for our side-by-side program. We invested $45,000 of that money back, and half of it was my money that I was working for, back into just the media portion of what we were doing for that small side-by-side program for that year.
And a lot of people have the mistake of, hey, my budget's $200. I'm gonna spend $250 on my budget, and I'm gonna spend $0 on social because it's free. And that's
you take some of that budget, and like you said, you build up your social presence, because you're going racing. What are your consumables? Tires, fuel, brakes, oil, all of the things that you need to maintain your vehicle. It doesn't matter what discipline you're doing. Every single discipline has to do it. So you maintain your vehicle and you figure, here are all the different things that I'm buying. Who can you reach out to and say, hey, here's part of my program. Do you have any discount programs or something we can work together on? So take that money, put a deck together, say, here's my schedule for the year. Here's who I am. Here's what I do. And you can, invest in looking more professional. And in return, you can get discounts or even free consumables to help your race program, so you're not having to invest as much.
That's massive advice right there.
And just, again, you got to ask yourself, okay, I'm going to approach you, Alex, at Holley. But at the end of the day, you got to have a solid plan, and you got to know what you can offer the brand, right? Yep. It can't be a sticker. Right. It can't be a sticker on the side of your car, and your social can't be weak, and you can't have no content. So, and again, if you're only winning races, that's only part of the battle. Winning races is just part of it.
Exactly. And, well, actually, that's a good question to have Alex answer is, in the ratio of things that are important, you have to be a good person. First of all, that's very important. You have to be good at what you're doing, like let's just say winning races or, other stuff like that, your profession. Then you have social media. Out of those three, can you kind of give us a percentage of the pie that of importance for those?
I mean, it's tough to say because, you have different aspects of it where someone may be going out and they're winning everything and the social presence isn't there. But you going out and being on the podium is important to us. So it's good to have a healthy mix. I can't tell you exactly what a percentage would be on what we think would be best. I mean, it's almost like you split it into thirds. Like, they're all equally important. But another thing to look at, too, is when we have people that may not have as large of a social following as we do, because Holley, I mean, on Instagram alone, we're about to turn over, 600,000 followers. So we have a huge network, and the way we operate is if you're using our products and you're out there winning, we use our hashtag. It's hashtag win with Holley. And when you win, you use that hashtag, we find that post and we share your success, because if you're winning, we're winning.
Yeah.
So each weekend, I'll come in on a Monday I'll have our motorsports guys. They'll send me a breakdown. Hey, here's what went down over the weekend. Here's who won. So it's like, our Simpson team, like we had Robert Height and Brittany Force won in Virginia. Lauren Healy won for us this weekend with the Fun Haver crew. Like we have people all over in different disciplines, and everyone's reaching out to me on a Monday. This person won, this person won, this person won. And we're scheduling out posts because we're like, we want to share the success that our customers and our influencers are having. So it's equally important because even if you don't have that social following, we'll take and we'll boost you up there. We'll help you because we want you to grow. Because if you grow, we grow.
And that's what I was going to say too. And that qualifies for people that aren't a part of your program yet too. If I go out there and I hashtag because I went and bought the injectors and I hashtag it, I have the opportunity to get posted. That is an insanely cool program that you guys are offering.
And that was one of the questions or basically things I had is. Results are important. They're absolutely important, guys. But, man, if nobody knows what you did, let's go ahead and say you just won Best in the Desert, right, whatever class you won, and you just relied on them to post the results.
Yep.
Man, what does that mean, right? So you got to go above and beyond and do the work and get those results posted everywhere and connect with every single sponsor and say, hey, guys, this is what I did. And hopefully they can put you up on their page and said, hey, little JJ won here, and little JJ won, basically be on as many channels as possible, right? Get as much exposure as possible. So,
well, I think there's two ways to look at that though too, and I think that's a fantastic way to look at it because there's a lot of guys actually in the side-by-side market, especially. Trophy truck guys do a little bit better, but in the side-by-side market, a lot of these guys don't pay attention to social media. They don't know what to do yet, right? So they just kind of let it, low-hanging fruit, whatever. They're just going to go out and race. That's fine if that's what they want to do. But secondary to that, there's also people that are, we call them mini moto dads, right? That are just way too overboard and way too pushy on their social media. So, Alex, do you have a limit that you like to see or a professionalism that you like to stay within?
I mean, we do have a deal where, like we work with on Stilo. We have our like factory pilot program is what we call it. So we're working with young racers in karting to help. They're just getting started. They're just getting into racing, and a lot of them are making great names for themselves. Being 9 or 10 years old, they're just young kids. So their social media is a mixture of their parents and the child as well. And honestly, we don't run into an issue where we have a pushy parent. We've never really had that because people say it all the time, but like the motorsports industry and the automotive industry is the best industry. It's full of the nicest people in the world. So we haven't had any issues with people doing that or being too pushy. I don't really think there is like a too pushy level that I've really experienced and had any issues with. I mean, I don't ever really, people shouldn't think of it as being pushy, maybe more of just
the squeaky
reminders. Because I'll be honest that people they'll reach out to me and I know I have something to do and it may fall in the crack, fall in the back burner because, it's busy working in this industry. So I don't mind, like if people reach out, I have a friend, every time he reaches out to me, he always says sorry. And it's like, dude, don't be sorry because I'm busy and there are things that just, they fall off the radar. And like, if you put it back on the radar, I'll take care of it. Like it's never, never be apologetic for, trying to get something done that you've been working on for a while. And we've never really had anyone that's too pushy. I mean, I wouldn't be that guy that's like, if you're in the email or texting or calling every single day, trying to remind people like, usually I'll send out a friendly email like, hey, thank you for bringing this to my attention. Like, I'm a little busy right now. Give me a couple days. I'll review this and I'll get back in touch. And we never just like leave anyone on red. We want to make sure that we reply to everyone. We run through all of our DMs. All of them get seen. So we always try and do our best to make sure that we're giving our attention to everyone. But I've never really experienced something that's like overly pushy.
Okay, good. Well, I like that too. There are some people that can get a little bit overly pushy on social media, so I was just wondering. But like, let's just say Don, that's been so engaged today, Don Haugen, and if he wants to reach out to you, what is the best way to be able to do that? And what would be the proper introductory standpoint for somebody like him or me to talk with you about potential partnerships in the future?
Yeah, everyone, I don't know if it's like a stigma with DMs, but everyone thinks that sliding into like a company's DM is like the wrong thing to do and it's not professional. And I think it's all within context. Like if you send me like a super long paragraph explaining everything about what your program is, what you do, who you are in a DM, to be completely honest, I'll probably just reply and say, hey, I'd love to talk about this more. Like, here's my email. So what I always do is, we'll answer every single DM, and like the email is where the business happens.
Yeah.
You can reach out. I think the best way to reach out to a company is to say, hey, here's an introduction. Here's who I am. Real quick, just give your name. Say, I have something I'm working on. I think it'd be a cool project. If you have any interest in getting involved, like give me a brief. And then I'll most likely reply and be like, hey, this is great. I'd love to talk more about it. Here's my phone number or here's my email. Like, reach out to me and let's discuss things and see what we can do.
Yeah, and more importantly, too, do a little bit of research as well and look at the Holley brands that you're interested in. So maybe if it is the Simpson brand, say, well, I would like to use these safety products in conjunction with the stuff that I'm doing, and then give a little bit more description. But don't do it in a full paragraph like what he's saying. Just do it very quickly and get his attention so that you can actually start the conversation. Those are fantastic tips,
Absolutely.
Alex.
Yeah, and then be real with the numbers, though. Don't inflate your numbers.
Never do it.
If you got like 10,000 followers, don't say you got 50,000, or just be, like I said, if you're saying, hey, you know what, I win every race, and you don't, just be accurate on all your info, right? Don't.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you lie and you try and inflate your numbers, like, inside secret, we have tools to see everything, and we'll know if you're lying. So, we just be honest, and like Brad said, like, just be a good person. And that's the best advice you can give anyone, is just be real, be who you are. Don't throw on your YouTube voice or YouTube face. Like, let's just keep it real and like be a no BS person. Cause like, I am not a BS person at all. And I'm pretty good at seeing right through it. I owe a little bit of that trait to my wife. She's the same way. And like, I'll say, hey, this person did this. And she's like, that's not real. And like, she'll catch me on it all the time. So I owe her that for that. But
the wife is always the one keeping everybody in line, right? Nope, that didn't happen, honey. C10 trucks, dude.
C10 trucks.
Yeah, dude, my wife is, she's no BS. She works for the fire department here, and man, yeah, she's tough.
Hey, so we forgot to ask Brad this question, but I'm going to ask Alex before. We're going to actually get Robert Wilson from Boxo on here and talk with him a little bit about the stuff that he said. Do you have anything else before I ask our final question?
I do just want to tell, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name. Is it Doug that has been commenting down there?
Oh, Don. Yeah, Don, we have a bunch of side-by-side stuff too. So, jump on our website, man. If you have any questions, just go ahead and shoot me a DM on the Holley page, and we'll talk to you about it. Yeah, and
I don't want to leave them hanging.
No, I know them, the Haugans. They're a fantastic family. Ken also knows them as well.
Absolutely.
Just exactly what you were already saying. Like, I'll already go out there on a limb and say they're the most realest family you will ever deal with, and they're fantastic people in general. So I think you guys will have a good conversation with them. All right, so my final question, unless you got anything else.
Man, I'm good. I think he answered everything. So, yeah,
All right.
I'm just pumped to see you, Alex.
Dude, yeah. I'm glad to meet you virtually, dude.
Gotta get you out of here.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
If you're going on a road trip, you're traveling to California, what snacks are you taking in the car, buddy?
You know what? I've been on a kick of the like those pretzel crisps. They're like pretzel chips, like the real like thin pretzels. Dude, I love those. That's like that's like our road trip snack. Anytime we hop in the car, like Christina, she gets sour gummy worms, and I always get those pretzel crisps.
Dude, those are good. Have you ever had the Snyder's? Their little pretzels. No, they're the nuggets or whatever, but they have peanut butter on the inside.
No, yeah.
Dude, those are addicting.
Oh, yeah, those are good. Yeah, you got to get the one from Costco because you get the giant jug of it. Yeah.
It's massive, dude. That was our Baja 500, just like Bible the whole time, man. Just handfuls of those while we're out there pre-running. It was sweet.
Dude, you gotta get that protein.
Yeah, I like your style, man. Hey, it was good to meet you virtually, like I said. Thank you very much, Ken, for lining this up, getting Alex on.
No, thank you, Alex, for man, taking the time.
Yeah,
it's like what time is it over there? You're like 9 o'clock over there now, huh?
Yeah, it's probably about 9 o'clock or so.
And his brain was still super sharp, giving us all the good info. Well, we really appreciate it, man, and congratulations on moving up and getting to the position you are at Holly Brands. Keep doing the good job that you're doing, buddy.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Looking forward to meeting you one day.
Yeah, you as well. All right, we'll see you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
All right, so dude, that was such great information.
Man, Alex is a wealth of info, man, and he's a freaking fantastic guy. Works his butt off. And he's going to be probably one of the biggest, I wouldn't be surprised if he was running Holly in, 5 years, and just being the guy.
Is that the hard work pays off mentality?
Absolutely. And going back, our next guest, Robert Wilson. I worked at Lucas with them for around 7.5, almost 8 years. But before that, Robert had a brand called Modern Image, and he did pretty much. He's probably the first person to wrap a vehicle. Okay, and all his wraps were in the Fast and the Furious, so he's a part of that whole Fast and the Furious movement.
Oh, really?
Bunch of SEMA builds, and then from there, man, he worked at MagnaFlow. He was a director of marketing over at MagnaFlow. The guy
big stuff.
Yeah, dude. He's the one that really brought the whole MagnaFlow sponsorship over to Lucas Oil. And then, like I said, and he is the guy really that brought the most money to Team Lucas. We had a
crap.
Oh, did we crash?
Yeah, you can still keep talking though.
Can they hear?
Yeah, they can still see us and hear us over there. We just can't see them.
So going back, Robert was just killed it at Lucas Oil. Brought in all the Tonka sponsorships and the Lomart and all the different sponsorships over at Lucas Oil, and then. Now he's director of marketing over at Boxo USA, and he handles a bunch of different social channels, just a massive amount of social channels as well. The guy's just knows everything. Are we back on? We live? Can you guys see me?
Yeah, we're still live. So you guys can actually, Robert, if you don't mind, do a request to join here. We had a problem with the iPad, so do a request to join real quick, and we'll get you on here in just a second. I'll handle the iPad stuff, and then Robert actually did some racing too. He did race in an SR1, so he kind of knows both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, he raced the SR1, built the SR1. The dude's a gnarly builder. Like he just built a notchback, and he built a custom, like a street. SR1, which is pretty insane. All sheet metal looking sick, and then he has another Aprilia that he matched with that as well. But man, thank you. It looks like I'm just looking at my phone right now. 909 Travell, what's up? Muscles and Bullies, Brock Hager, what's happening, man? Heck Tattoo, Sweet Patina. Who else is on here? Man, we got all kinds of people on here. Parts Via, what's up, Patrick?
Yeah. And we got our boy Robert Wilson on. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Woo!
Yeah, boys, man, some legends, man. I don't know if I'm worthy of it. Right?
Dude, we're stoked to have you on our team and on the broadcast. Thank you, Rob, for making some time happen.
Yeah, dude, we really appreciate it.
No, it's a huge topic, and it's it's great that you guys are. Everybody that's been on is sharing the wealth of information. There's probably some people that are out there that, just thinking about racing. There's, veterans. I've been watching the comments and people on there. It's pretty awesome. So thank you guys for what you're doing.
Well, the first question that I have for Robert is basically just about like passion in general. So when we qualify all of these people that are coming out to go racing or to be an enthusiast and stuff like that, passion is what drives most of these people, right? Because they want to go out and they want to fulfill their dreams of being a racer or going to the dunes and being an ambassador and all of these things. How heavy does that weigh in your book of marketing or sponsorship?
Well, it's huge because you want somebody to be passionate, in the sport. You don't want just somebody that's coming in just to get a few bucks and go out and race. Nobody, Brad a little bit, but Brad's, he's bred from a different breed, right? His dad absolute badass. If you guys don't know who Doug DeBerti is, if you don't know who Ken Johnson is, like, do some background, find out who those guys are. You're going to start, if you're an off-road guy, you're a UTV guy, like we all are and stuff, then you're out there having a good time. That's where it all starts. Just wake up, and go, all right, I'm going to go be a Pro 2 racer. You're going to start somewhere. So having knowledge of what you're getting behind the wheel of or what dirt is, it's pretty key, I would imagine.
Yeah, well, and then that goes back to a little bit of your background, too, is you've worked for some fantastic brands like what Ken was saying, but you also spent some time doing some SR1 racing, and so you understand both ends of the spectrum. So if somebody comes to you with questions or a sponsorship or whatever, like Ken was saying before, don't lie. Give real numbers. Like if somebody says something to you, you can see right through that.
Dude, it's Ken and I joke all the time, we wrote the book or filmed the DVD on half of the stuff that these guys are, saying, when Ken had his brand or we had, our brand back in the day and used to try and pull the wool over somebody's eyes, like, oh yeah, it's, we shipped it, it's on the UPS. And then the one smart guy said, well, what's the tracking number? And you go like, oh man, I got caught, luckily, been very blessed and fortunate to be on both sides. Got to race, if that's what you call what I did, out there turning some laps, getting in people's way, but having a good time, that's all that mattered to me. And then been on the other side of the table where, I've been fortunate to hand out sponsorships or help people get them.
Well, so when you talk about that stuff, like we've asked the same question to both Brad and to Alex as well. If I'm going to approach, let's just use Boxo because that's your, current work situation or what you handle. If I'm going to approach Boxo and I am a local racer, I got on the podium a couple times. I have 500, 1,000 social media followers, and I'm active with them and stuff like that. Does that qualify enough for you, or like what are you looking for as far as me goes? Like what can you give advice to me to be able to approach you?
Well, it's all going to be where I'm going to talk to you from. I know Alex just talked about DMs. The one thing I want to let everybody know is that a lot of people put all these companies up on pedestals, and the perception is that a lot of these companies are gigantic and they have thousands of employees, right? The marketing department's got 100 people in there looking at DMs, looking at emails. I'll tell you, like, every brand I work with right now, there's probably one or two people that run the whole entire marketing department. That's from launching products to filming content to doing whatever. So I know that Alex said DMs are real important. You gotta send emails. I made myself a note, like, if it's that important to you and you're local, get in your car, have your parents get in the car, drive down to Boxo, drive down to Motul, drive down to KMC, go in there and ask for the marketing person, right? Yep. It's how much does it mean to you? How many DMs and emails and that, I can't even imagine Alex with 70 brands, we handle, I don't know, about 10, and it's unbelievable. And for me to say that I look at every single one, there's no way. There's not enough time in the day. Like, I would have to hire probably 2 or 3 people just to do that. So, sometimes people get pretty bitter sometimes. When I don't get bitter. Like, you're asking for help, and because you didn't get an answer back, and trust me, like, I hate not answering, but it's real world. Don't get all cocky and pissed off. That's for sure never going to help you on anything.
Yeah, and that's what we were saying too before, is the squeaky wheel gets the grease, but be a real person. Understand that the people on the other end of the line have a life, a job, and families.
Absolutely. Don't get discouraged, right? You send a DM, you don't get a response back in 5 minutes. Don't be like, oh man, F that company. That's not how it works.
Right.
If you send a DM, you don't get a response, find out what the email is, send an email. Right? You don't get an email response, then try and go to an event and find them. Look for Robert or whoever the guy is and say, who's the marketing director at your company? Find out their information, send them an email. But don't send them an email saying, hey, I want to get sponsored. Do the things, right? The things are buy the product, right? Basically try and open up a dealership, right? Let's go ahead and say I live in Nebraska and I got a local moto shop, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I know the parts manager there. And I'm going to order some toolboxes. I'm order it through that dealer and have that dealer open up a dealership with Boxo or whatever, and just help support the brand, just like you did with the exhaust and Supercuts, right? Yeah. So go above and beyond, man. You can't just expect people to give you stuff for free, and that's what's wrong with some of the youth today is like, hey, they expect free for no reason.
Let's put it real simple. Let me ask you guys a question. I'm going to ask both of you guys. Can I borrow $20?
I'll give you $20. No problem.
For what?
Because I like you.
Yeah.
Bad dude, and your word. I'll give you 20. I'll give you 40.
So there you go. But that's because you guys know me and you guys know the effort and the workload that I put in, right? But if a guy comes up to you at a supermarket or at a convenience store and says, "Hey, can I get $20?" and he looks all raggedy, are you going to give him $20? Probably not, because you think he's going to go do something with it.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's a guy that goes to my local 7-Eleven all the time.
Yeah.
And when I go there, I see him, and he's homeless. I'm bummed to see that, but he kind of takes care of himself.
Yeah.
And every time I see him, he don't ever ask. I'll leave $5 or $10 up at the counter and say, hey, make sure when he comes out of the bathroom, make sure you give it to him, right? And just I take care of people just because. Again, it just depends on who it is, right?
Yeah.
So,
that's good, and so that brings up a good point, though, is that what you're saying or what you guys are talking about right now is that. The people on the other end of the spectrum, if I'm asking you guys for something, I know that you guys could use that $20 to support your family or whatever it is, but there is a really good understanding of what you're going to get back. And my deliverables wouldn't be like, hey, give me $20. I'd be like, give me $20 and I'll go get all of us burritos.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you guys know I would do that. And then going above and beyond, like what you were talking about, Ken, is just being a good person. I know my dad has shown me a lot of good things in the past, and he used to have a homeless guy that hung out at his transmission shop in southern Arizona, and there's tons of customers that come in and all of these different things that happen. He goes, you know what? I'm not going to kick this guy out. He walks to the back and he says, hey, you don't have to leave. You can stay here as long as you want, but stay in the back during the day, and when you come out at night, make sure you protect the place.
Yep. And
gave him a job. And the dude was an old Marine vet, and he held that standard. He was the security guard for that place for years. Didn't make a dime. Just got food, just got help, and it was a working relationship that had formed a bond between those two people. I mean, he was just trying to get money to help his daughter buy a car.
He showed value, right, to your dad, and
crazy,
and
right?
Got it in return, right? At the end of the day, same with Robert. Robert gets, he gets hit up on a daily basis for sponsorship, right? And he has to filter through all the sponsorships to find out if this person, if he wants to help this person or maybe not, or yes, whatever it may be. But there's a lot of heavy hitters that hit him up and say, hey, you know what? We're going to be on this TV show. We're going to have this, or I've got this many followers on a daily basis. You got to be different than everyone else. You can't just be just like everyone else.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, okay. So if you're talking about that, Robert, let's get a little recipe. If I'm going to try to get sponsored by you, what are some of the good things that I can say in an introduction to you to catch your attention?
Well, again, tell me about who you are, right? It's hard when you're talking about a DM or email, because I always like to have people show me who they are instead of tell me who they are. So, but you kind of got to get started some way or another. So really, I mean, you guys talked about this since the beginning of the show. You got to be a rad person, right? Be humble. Like, don't be like, I'm the best guy ever. I got, I don't care if you got 1,000 followers or 100 million followers. That doesn't tell me the story of it. Just like I said, we got the tools. We're going to go behind it. Ken wrote the book for most of these things. We know what it is. Some of that stuff's phony. Some of it's real. 500 followers might be better than 500,000 followers. We can't control what Instagram does every day. We think, if somebody says they know, they don't know, right? 500,000 people, that guy with 500 could be reaching the same amount of people.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point.
And time is important, and reputation. So let's go ahead and go back to reputation. Robert, man, his reputation is gold. It's been gold for 35 years.
Yeah.
Not just 5 years, not 10 years, 35 years since he's been driving and building cars, right? So if he went to a partner or a sponsor, they're probably going to know who he is before he even gets there. So that's important.
Does that mean that you have to have a name to be able to get attracted to a sponsor? Like if I was just little Johnny, can I still approach Rob?
No, yeah, you can approach Rob if you don't have a reputation, but it's all about building though a relationship, right? I mean, he wrote the book on relationships. So what does relationships mean to you, Robert?
Well, again, like you kind of go back to little Johnny, you know, I mean, if little Johnny, you know, emails or DMs, you know, honestly, it's going to be pretty difficult, you know, unless there's a big team that gets to follow up and do some homework. But if little Johnny, you know, follows, you know, the companies that we're working for that he wants to go and sees that they're going to be at a show or at a race, and then walks up and introduces himself and lets us see who he is and start talking about it. And then he's racing the next moto or the next heat and goes out there and, you know, we kind of, you know, we know what we're looking for and we see like, man, that kid's got some talent. Like, okay, I'm going to want to talk to that kid. But if it was just, you know, an email and like, hey, I'm just getting started, and you're going to have to put in that work. You know, it's, I wish I could say it's as easy as like a DM or an email, but man, in today's world and the world's totally changed, you know, too, where a lot of these companies these days don't need as much help, at least in the current state, right? I mean, there's record profitability and they hardly have any product, you know, so it's of a double-edged sword sometimes. Like, we have to balance it right now. You know, we want to tell people to buy our stuff. It's rad, it's awesome, you need it, but we have to also be careful, because if we're not going to have it for 6 months, we don't want it to go the opposite way and then just have people pissed off at us. So it's really interesting time right now, and making sponsorships even harder than it's ever been, because at some point the company doesn't necessarily need it because they're growing and doing the best sales they can. And on the flip side of it, it's really hard for them to even have the product to sell at full price. Or just think about, man, I was looking at Raptors the other day. Like, people are paying $50,000 over. So if you and I, the best racers ever, right? We're going to go smash the 1,000. We got helicopters, chase trucks. We got the best co-drivers, all the stuff. And we go to Ford and say, hey, you know, we want a Raptor as a sponsorship for free.
That's a massive
no. I was going to say, those guys are probably going to go like, man, I know we probably should do this because they have all the tools, they have everything, but we got 200 pissed off people at us right now that have had orders for 8 months that are willing to pay over. You know, it just is. So I'm just saying it's a very interesting time in sponsorship.
Yeah, it's not a good decision to go. Yeah, but that makes a good point though too. Is do your research and understand the people that you're going to approach and know what they actually. You know, maybe it would be like a job interview, right? Like, try to see if you can get an understanding of what they need before you go in there and talk to them. And then when you approach them, I strongly suggest, this is just my personal outlook, and you guys can tell me if I'm right or wrong, is kind of do it the old school way. Pretend like social media didn't exist. Go up and find a way to shake their hand. Be approachable and talk to them and see what kind of company they are so that you know if you want to work with them, and then ask them questions to see if they want to be able to work with you. I think those are very, very valuable tools that a lot of people forget.
Patience is key. Patience is key. It could take 6 months, 6 days, 6 years to get a sponsor, right? So be patient with that.
Yeah, and shake everybody's hand.
Right?
Be a nice guy to everybody.
Right? Meet as many people as possible.
Be a rad guy and know that, yeah, it may not happen that year, but now if you're on the radar, the same amount of decks are going to come in the next year, if not more, to that same marketing director, right? I mean, it's an ongoing thing, but there's only so many, you know, sponsorships that they can hand out, whether it's product or monetary cash. So maybe you didn't make it that first year. Maybe not that second year, like Ken said. It could have been 5 years, but we're watching. We're seeing it. Alex said, like, man, you know, it's probably borderline stalker in some points, you know, because we're following these guys, especially if it's somebody that sparks our interest. And we, you know, there's times that I want to sponsor somebody, but the CEO says no. But, you know, 6 months later, I go with the same conversation, the same person, and it's a yes, you know? So
that's a good point, because the company direction changes. So what
it changes? Marketing directors constantly. So find other people in the organization too. You know, I mean, the marketing director and what we're talking about is probably the key guy, but who's the sales manager? Again, because if you can help the sales manager out by going and doing, you know, a signing, you know, at an event, man, you're going to score points. So now you got two people on your side. You know, if you can talk to the CEO, I think that's one place where Christopher Corvorti, you know, I heard his name a couple times. I mean, they just go out of their way to go meet people and open arms like, hey, you want to come in and, you know, have a cheeseburger in our pit, you know, or have a water, or, you know, hey, what can we do? All of a sudden they show up. It's that extra effort. Again, it's hard. You're talking about, I mean, you're going to go to work and work hard to get your paycheck. It's basically the same thing, the sponsorship, right? It's not like you write a DM and you're going to get this $50,000 check and that's it. Like, you got to work hard to get it, you know, your resume, your interviews. It's all the same thing, right? You're asking for money. So look at it as a job.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
And one thing that's important too, you know, and I think back, you know, thinking about Robert, and there's a photo with me and Mayan Spaccarelli, and as well as Jay Leno, right? And I got a chance to meet Jay with Mayan, but Robert is the one that really helped develop that relationship with Tonka. So he helped build that relationship with Tonka. And Mayan came to Robert and was like, hey, you know, I got this potential partner. You know, how do I acquire? How do I make this happen? And Robert helped really bring that whole thing together. It was super rad, and again, you know, not only did he bring money to Mayan and his whole team, but he was able to give even added exposure through the series with TV commercials, with social media, online activation or on-site activation. I mean, it goes on, right? That Robert was able to make happen, you know, and help develop that sponsor and make Mayan, you know, look bigger than he ever did, right?
Well,
so
let's expand on that a little bit, because Robert's been on different sides of the spectrum, and I always thought that I was really proud of myself when I brought non-endemic supercuts into the off-road world. I thought it was really cool, right? But Robert's done that on a way higher level, and so when you talk about being on all the ends of the spectrum, you really were. And we'll talk about three. You were a racer yourself. You are managing brands, so you're answering the phone when people come to you for sponsorship, and you were actually out there recruiting sponsors for other racers. So how is that? Give us some advice on that, because that's where I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be out looking for sponsors, so maybe give me some advice on how I can do that like you did.
Well, man, you're already doing a good job, dude. Look, you brought supercuts. I remember, dude, I was up in the stands. You know, Ken and I are both working for Lucas during that time. I'm entertaining guests, and he's the marketing guy that's out there, and I seen your car. And I was like, check that out. That's awesome. While everybody's going after Fox and King, all 150 racers at the regional all went after the same 5 sponsors. You looked outside of the box and hustled to make it work. So good job, you know, on that side of things.
Yeah, I appreciate that. They had zero interest in working with off-road, though. I got to tell you that. Like, they didn't want to be a part of it at all. It was cool to see them actually do it.
Oh, man. You know what? And going back, you know, thinking about this, and this advice to the racers, right? Go to the Concrete Expo. Go to the gun expos if you, I mean, obviously if you're 21 or over or whatever, and go to the electronic expos. Go and meet people. Go outside, non-endemic. Yep. Go to different events in different places, and don't be shy. Go and meet as many people as possible. Grab cards. Don't drop a deck.
Yep.
Grab cards so that way you can find out who it is. Send emails and just get to know people, right?
Yeah,
and
you never know when Black & Decker's going to want to enter off-road. You never know when Sony's going to want to enter off-road.
You never know. You might be the first guy that called, right? So, get some contacts, find out who the guy is, and again, just get on the radar.
Yeah, and if you were approaching it from that standpoint too, like let's just say, Robert, you're going to represent me because I'm going to go try to see if I can do the Baja 500 here, and we need to gain a little bit of monetary value. Maybe we need $1,000 to get down there for fuel, and we need to also get some tires for the car. How do we approach that?
Well, I mean, man, one thing, I mean, it depends on if that marketing director is passionate about road. I think the very first thing was talking about passion, right? And every marketing director has a different passion. He might be into both when you're asking about off-road, or the flip side of it. The one thing with off-road that I know, and especially when we talk about short course, is just it's so exciting, and the experience of it is so real. So, talk to the person, right? Or if you have a brand that you're thinking about, invite them. Baja is going to be a little bit harder, right? But, hey, if the race is at Barstow, buy a $15 ticket. Buy 4 of them, send it to them. Say, I want you to be my guest. I want you to come out and experience it firsthand, right? And if it's a guy that's not off-road and he's in his loafers or whatever, he's like, I don't know. But, man, if you can get him out there and then show him, it's gonna do wonders. It's what made my life so much easier when I'm selling, for Lucas Oil Off-Road, and whether it was $1,000 sponsorship or $1 million sponsorship, the game always changed when we can get them on site and let them smell and hear and see the excitement, and then also see your passion, because if they're smart, they're going to understand. If you're a passionate person, you want to win, you want to be part of it, your team, your family, everybody is vested in it, they're going to want to be a part.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
And make sure the experience is great,
Yeah. Hospitality goes a long ways, man. So I'm not going to name the name of the company, but it's a massive brewing company, and they have a lot of products that I know for a fact because I've talked to the marketing director. I went and asked my buddies if they could tell me who he was, and I finally found out who to connect with. I had a phone conversation with him, and I said, what kind of stuff is your company looking to do? We have a small little podcast, but I would like to see if we can help you bring you into the off-road industry and help support some racers and all of these different things. It's not aligning right now at all. Like, he doesn't have the bandwidth to do it, but every time I'm going to go to Baja 500, I'm going to go to all these different places. I invite him every single time. And within the next couple of years, I can promise he'll go to one of them, and then he'll see what it's all about, and then hopefully something will transpire from that. Just like Ken said, it's not always an instant gratification.
Yeah, absolutely patient. And then I seen Patrick jump on, Patrick Wagenbrenner of Keystone Automotive Operations.
Oh, cool.
And he handles parts via. And, man, he's a monster on social media. That guy's freaking a beast. But he said cross-reference other areas, see who's entering various, entities like Indy, NASCAR, Supercross, X Games. So see who the new guys are spending money because they have a little bit of money to spend. Is that right, Robert?
Absolutely. That's part of my homework. I'm DVRing, whether it's NHRA, Indy, now watching a little bit of F1 that is kind of coming back and seeing, what different series are doing to get ideas. Again, it kind of all goes back into the endemic stuff. So if you can go outside, but George, your thing, if that's a brewing company, like, is it worth it for you to go buy a 6-pack, 2 cases, 4 cases? You're going to have your iPhone with you. Shoot some content, dude.
Yep.
Have some lifestyle stuff and start sending that stuff free of charge.
Yeah.
Like, hey, here's some samples of some stuff that we can do for you. Because a lot of times they think, or people think, it's what they can do, right? I'm going to put a sticker on the car and I'm going to blow you up, And it's like, I don't think so, So man, same thing. If you can send some photos to that guy, I guarantee you're going to move to the top.
Yeah, so I just wrote that down because that's fantastic advice. It's a reminder that I needed. And Robert, the cool thing about it is I actually went to Geyser Performance out there in southern Arizona. I saw one of the trucks that they had with the logo of one of the beverages in the brewing company's lineup. I sent it to him and I said, look, there is crossover. And so it was really cool for him to see it because he goes, no way. He goes, I had no idea. I said, yeah, do you want me to just figure out who it is? He said, nope, just leave it right there. I'll get to it when I have time.
Yep. No, it's good. Tag them, tag the brand up front, tag the marketing director underneath, slide that thing down so not everybody sees it, because I'm sure that guy doesn't want to get blown up.
What's it called, blank tag?
Yeah.
Slide the thing off the side. I think one of the KMC marketing guys told me blank tag.
I don't know if you could blind tag. I think you
like when you slide it off the screen.
Oh yeah.
Blank tag. Yeah. But okay. So you got any more questions for Robert? Because I want to kind of wind it down here.
Yeah, I mean, Robert, what best advice, right, for someone to try and, I mean, you already answered it probably 14 times, but it's, real clear. What's the best advice you can give a racer to get sponsorship?
Well, I mean, in today's world, content is king. Not a single brand that I know says that they have too much content.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. And it doesn't, I mean, it can be professional because that goes a long ways. But man, these iPhones or whatever the Google phone is for people that are still using that, sorry. Amazing what you can get, from this stuff. So I can tell you, from all the brands that we, kind of help on their social, it's like, get us content. So as their ambassadors, or, it might be 1 out of 10 is their influencers, ambassadors, compared to other people that are tagging. And I see it, I see it and I make note of it. Liking, commenting, and engaging, like you said, Ken, before, we see that. You think a like doesn't go a long ways. Like if we're following you, we get a comment. I'm gonna see it because I get notification about it. So it's pretty simple stuff. Again, it goes back to you're gonna have to put in a little bit of work, onto that. But then
how about
be a humble.
Yeah, the humble person thing. All right, so talking about that content, providing you guys with content, I just stepped off screen for, 10 seconds, maybe 12 seconds. I captured this picture of Boxo in the spotlight behind the studio set that we have here with our fantastic buddy Ken behind me. It took me about under 15 seconds to do it, and if I shared that with you guys, would you guys like to use it?
I would absolutely. As soon as you send it, I'm going to share it on to ours.
Yes.
So, and if you have other sponsors that are following you, they're going to get brought into the mix too, right? Or if you tag KMC on there and I share it, then they're going to see it too. So that was pretty simple thing to do, right? I mean, I was going to give you big props, right? I mean, Lucas is the one that made that box happen for you behind you. Big props to Lucas out there.
Yep.
But, that's huge. I mean, Boxo's in focus behind you guys the whole entire time. You got your KMC. Dude, you're hustling and you're making it happen. Today I didn't have the Sparko chair. I'm usually not on these things. I'm usually the guy in the background, but I was going to Sparko for a meeting anyways. I was like, you know what? There might be a time where I get 2 seconds of in focus time right there. It was, right? So it was worth the effort for me to do it. Go buy this chair today because for the last 25 years, they've sponsored every car that I ever did. And I hope for the next 25 years they do. So I put a little bit of money out of my pocket, put a little bit of time, and I sweated in my front yard a little bit when I put it together. And when I put it together, I took some pictures and I'm going to send it to them. And I was putting it together with box tools. I'm going to send it to them too. So
all right, so write it down. It was 2 hours and 42 or 43 minutes into this thing, so you can screenshot it and send it over to them.
That's your job, man.
Yeah, exactly. But I do appreciate all the info you're giving us, and I just wanted to make that point. I interrupted my show. Everybody has stuff to do at the races. Everybody has stuff to do during work. I interrupted my workflow right now for 12 seconds. I took a picture, and now I created a little bit of value for everybody around me. I'm going to share it with Ken, because Ken's going to be able to use it. I'm going to share it with you guys because you guys potentially could be able to use it. And I think that's very important when people say, I don't have time for social media. Well, nobody has time for social media.
Right.
But if you want to make yourself valuable to people, you have to make time, just like you would make time for lunch.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Or your mom, your girlfriend, your sister, depending on what your scale of your budget is, hire somebody. Mm-hmm. I know Brad's ran it by himself. He's brought people in. He's kind of gone back and forth. I know Ken does the same, in different scenarios and stuff. So just try and figure it out. And again, if you don't have time for it, then don't ask for.
Yeah.
Because that's what the world today is. Pretty simple. One more quick advice is, if you're well off enough, and I think Brad brought it up. He said, you're going out there to have fun, right? And he kind of lost that. So you got to remember what is most important. Ken and I have seen this a lot, right? There's a lot of people that are well off enough to go out and race and have family time. And then all of a sudden they think they need or want sponsorship. Not everybody has to have sponsorship, and
Right.
it becomes work, and then it becomes a little bit of stress, and it's hard work. So really, kind of think about it in the grand scheme of things, because if you're asking for a $25 thing of whatever tire plugs, is it really going to be worth that 15 seconds or 15 minutes that you just did to do that content? And they're going to want that at least once a month. Now, if you're talking about $25,000 or $250,000, that's a whole different scenario. But that's just one word of advice that from the backside that a lot of people don't ever get, but it's a real thing. Just think about really what you need and want.
I'm a massive proponent of that, actually. So in our racing program, I tell everybody, to this date, my funnest year was when I had very little sponsorship deliverables. Like, I had the most fun. We supported the program, ran at low level, just the family, the girlfriend, all this cool stuff. And that was the best year. I had a fantastic time. Dustin Nelson, Brad DeBerti were battling on the podium, all this fun stuff, right? Then I started getting deliverables, and then it took a little bit of the fun out of it. Not that that was a bad thing, because I still enjoyed that work ethic portion of it. But when you start having those things happen, it really changes the whole prospect of it. So do it for what you want to be doing it for.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
And again,
your end goal is to be a professional, off-road racer that's going to pay your bills and your livelihood. There's only a handful of people that are doing that, So, or you just want to go out and have fun, maybe get a trophy and have some beers and some tacos, afterwards, and be prepping the car and make lasting memories.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. That's where I'm at right now, man. You guys want to go have some tacos and some beers?
I just had some tacos right now. But, yeah.
All right, hit him with the last questions before I ask him the most important question of the night.
Yeah, I mean, I think I covered almost everything that, I wanted to. And Robert, I don't know if you want to talk about some of the brands that you work with and give a plug to some of the brands that you work with.
Let's do that. I think that's a really great thing to do.
No, I'm thankful. I'm just thankful to be part of this industry and be able to hang out with dudes, like have conversations and go to SEMA and go to off-road races. But right now, we all have to pay our bills. So whether that's sponsorship or, doing plugs. So, Boxo USA, I'm the marketing director. I'm part-time there. Sparco USA, Impact, Wine Country, quite a few people. We run their social media. And then I still do sponsorship sales for Lucas Oil. So I'm still that guy, just like you, George, that's going out there looking for sponsorship dollars. I'm still doing that for Lucas Oil and some of their, series. They don't have the off-road series anymore, but I'm still slinging, tractor pulling and dirt late model, drag racing, all that kind of.
Dude, tractor pulling's kicking off again. I've seen some videos on Instagram. Shit's like getting big.
It's strong, man. People love it. They pack the stadiums, Rob.
Yeah, it's crazy. And Ken said, go, step outside of our arena of what we think, is off-road, or if you're a streetcar guy or whatever, and go halfway, across the country and go to the ag show. And what you think your little show is pretty big, you'll see there's a lot more cornfields and tractors than there is trophy trucks and surfboards. I can tell you that much from traveling across this country and world.
Yeah, 100%. I can just see it now, though. Hey, you guys can steal my idea. Totally use this for your sponsorship. So build yourself a little trailer, just like the tractor pulls, and start the UTV tractor pulls. You got to get a really strong belt, like maybe an extra strong belt for your Polaris, but you start the UTV tractor pulls, get that stuff on social media. There'll be some people that want to get into it. Hey, we really appreciate it, Rob. Thank you very much for joining us. It's always good to see your face, man. I know you're out there hustling daily, so keep up the good work, dude.
No, thank you so much. Like I said, feel honored. There's definitely some heavy hitters in this, and just feel good to be part of it.
You don't even know. This guy's such a legend right here, man. He's such a legend. I mean, he just, like I said, helped launch the whole Fast and Furious culture. He was a big part of that whole deal. Just, massive in off-road.
So basically Vin Diesel's best friend?
Dude, he... man, friends with, the late Paul Walker, and, man, just well-connected through the whole industry. And he's always kept great relationships.
Humble.
With all of his guys, and he's always been this humble. Just been the same guy, right, Rob? Rob's been the same guy since I known him. He's probably the same guy when he was, 16, 18 years old, and... man, I've been blessed to know him for the last decade. So, man, thank you, Rob.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Hey, so the most important question of the night, dude, you're driving across the country. What snacks are you eating?
Well, I mean, Reese's Pieces and Mountain Dew.
Whoa!
But it's that balance in life. So that's going to be perfect. And, if I'm driving across country, I got to stay awake and, need that little sugar rush. And nobody's looking at what my diet is. Then, yeah, I'm mob that.
Dude, I can see him crushing all these Reese's Pieces and Mountain Dew, just being like, yeah, and then he'd be like, well, I got to change it up and just hitting the beef jerky, like.
Well, and then I'm like crazy OCD, so like I just don't eat in my car. I don't let anybody eat in my car, so probably that's I don't get much. But when I make that liquor store convenience stop, it's on.
Yeah, if you ever want to buy anything used, make sure you buy it from Rob because it's almost brand new still.
Oh, it's just pristine.
Yeah, he has a 07 Duramax or 08 Duramax, and it looks like a 2022. It's freaking insane.
Dude, that's so cool, man. Well, like I said, Rob, thank you very much for everything you do for the industry. We really appreciate it. And, man, we'll see you out at the next event.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, homie. We'll see you later, bud. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
It's cool. We won't be able to see too much of the Instagram, guys. We'll just kind of hope and pray that it's working good. But we're winding it down. So
yeah, no worries, man. Rob, like I said, such a great guy, such a legend, and been a part of a couple of different industries, and definitely was one of the guys that brought the most money to Lucas Oil, the most sponsorship. And man, my job was to spend it, doing the marketing there. He brought the money in, I spent it.
Nice funnel, dude. That works pretty good. Well, we had some. I'll wind it down a little bit here, and then we'll go over the rapid fire Q&A for Ken Johnson. But we had some awesome guests tonight. I think they offered a really, really healthy amount of knowledge for not only myself but for the audience. I think you probably even learned a little bit today too.
Dude, always.
So it's cool to have Brad DeBerti on. It was cool to have Alex on from Holly, and then obviously Rob. We're going to call him from Boxo because Boxo was part of the show. So it's really cool to have all those guys. One of the things that I think is most important and most meaningful to me is these guys don't have to share this stuff.
Right.
They don't have to give their secrets away. You don't have to do it either. And you're out here, you're trying to help the industry, you're trying to grow it. It means a lot to us, dude.
It's what you should do, what people should do is just help people. At the end of the day, I don't do it to expect anything back.
Just like you're doing at the gas station.
Right. At the end of the day, just be a good person and I just try to be the best person I can be. I'm not perfect by no means.
Yeah.
I'm not just, I'm not the most, the smartest guy out there. I definitely just, I learn from my failures and just like every other human, right?
Keep working hard.
Yeah, you just put your head down, work hard. I got some great people out there. Brittany Westhoff, she's my partner, with the Social Lab Media. Man, I got a fantastic wife and just, great kids. And
actually, that's one thing that we should talk about now is you actually have helped me or I've helped line you up because you're so good at what you do to help out some other companies. So what is it that you can help out with if some of the brands are following the show or listening to the show? You offer services to be able to help with some of the stuff we talked about tonight.
Yeah, it's crazy. When I left Lucas, I started doing some concerts and events, and from there, obviously the pandemic hit, some other stuff, happened, and, we broke away and we basically launched a marketing agency, right? Digital marketing agency that does Facebook, Instagram, Google marketing, remarketing. So we'll take a product, right? We'll take this like Motul right here.
The shine and go.
Right? And then we'll market it. We'll build some content around it and push ads out on Facebook and Instagram. And then we'll consult with people, help people, understand what the best practices are on social media, whether it's organic or paid. However,
I think maybe we should do something similar to that with. Let's see if we can approach the Motul and Evo guys and see if we can do some of the stuff with this stuff, dude.
Maybe,
because I think we need to get the word out about this. The Dirt Life has got a good audience, but man, if we can do some bigger stuff to help out our partners, that'd be sweet.
Absolutely, and so it's just important. Again, just like how do you bring value to a brand, and the value for us is selling product, right? So and it works it's double-edged where we're able to market the product and then sell the product at the same time. So it's not just marketing. Hey, we're friggin'
win-win.
Yeah, we're winning all the way around. So and we work with some great brands, and we're fortunate. So
yeah, it's really cool, and I love to see the progress that you guys have made. You and your partner. After all of the stuff that I was introduced to you with Lucas, and it's just so cool to be able to still see
what you're doing in the future and how things are going. Well, thank you for lining up some of the guests tonight. I appreciate that as well. Is there anybody you want to throw a shout out to before we go through this rapid fire Q&A?
Yeah, there's a couple things like, going back to the social organic reach, organic, growth. I'm working with the guys over at Motorsports Curated. We got a really cool program to help people grow their social.
Yep.
And that really works. I mean, it's real followers. And tomorrow, actually in the morning, I'm flying to James Stewart's compound.
Oh, sweet.
And we're going to be doing, doing some filming over there with the guys at Motorsports Curated. We're going to do a bike giveaway, and then. Yeah, it's been a pretty fun time.
How can people check that out?
It's just going on Instagram. It's Motorsports Curated on Instagram.
Okay.
But I mean, it's a pretty rad program, and again, everybody has a different need, right?
Yeah.
Hey, is it growing your social? And for me, I don't think that being a part of just one thing is the solve all. There's not one solve all. Like you've got to do all the things. You got to create content. You got to do inbound, outbound engagement. You've got to you got to go to events. I mean, you got to work on get your YouTube, Facebook, whatever your bandwidth is, right? If you can only handle YouTube, do it the best.
Yep.
If you can handle YouTube and TikTok, do YouTube and TikTok. If you can only do Instagram, or you can do all three, or you can do all four with Twitter in there and Facebook.
Man, that's some dedication right there.
At the end of the day, whatever you do it to your best ability, rather than doing stuff at 30%.
Yeah, if you do it half-ass, it's never going to be a success.
Yeah, so and again, don't be scared to fail, right? Don't be scared hey, put some content up and it didn't do very well. The worst that can happen is you just archive it, right?
Yep.
So just keep moving forward. Try and keep moving forward because again, social media never sleeps, and it'll just social media, Instagram will just consume all your content. So you put it up, and and it's you got 6 hours before it's dead or everybody knows about it. So
exactly. Well, those are all good tips, man. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you giving all the info to all of our listeners and myself too. So, all right, you ready for the rapid fire Q&A?
I'm looking.
No, you're not allowed to look at this, dude.
Dude, come on, man. That's a friggin'
question number 1: tacos or hot dogs?
Oh, we do tacos all day. Carne asada right here.
That's how you're doing?
Tijuana tacos.
All right, so
unless it's super late at night and there's no tacos, then I'll eat the hot dog.
Oh, I got it. All right.
Wrapped, yeah.
Perfect. All right, so if you want the secret to Ken's hearts, tacos, chicken or asada? Carne asada?
Asada all day.
Dunes or the river?
Man, it's a tough deal. You know what I like? You know what I do like is Palms River Resort, because there's the river on one side and then there's a.
Where's that at?
In Needles. That's
Whoa.
that's the Povordes Resort, and that's where the Andersons have a compound out there. It's super rad out there.
Looks like I know where I want to go. Then
right?
you can get both.
Man.
All right, so this is a social media question: action shots or still shots?
I guess it depends on how much of the action is, right? Is it? I mean, what are you doing in the action, and what's,
how about a trophy truck going through a berm or a trophy truck just sitting there all polished and clean?
Man, that's a tough one. They'll both do well.
Yeah.
Just make sure. Yeah. But if you do a trophy truck, make sure you do the best shots are always a 3/4 angle. If it's still, three-quarter, you're looking like this front tire.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did you get all the view?
And
that's a great tip.
And then if you do video, make sure you do your video. Hold your phone vertically. Don't hold it horizontally, because at the end of the day, you gotta look at when you're swiping or you're scrolling up, as when you look at that post, it's digital real estate, right? So
if it's taking up the whole screen,
yeah.
Yeah.
If you got it on in landscape mode, you're like this. If you got it on portrait mode, you got double the viewing.
Yep, exactly. And
double the real estate.
Fun fact: we are editing a bunch of shop tour videos that we're going to use for the Dirt Life.
Sick.
And I got somebody that I'm helping, Josh Metzger. He's going to help me edit the videos. And he goes, "All right, you got all the stuff?" And I said, "Yeah, we're going to do it 9x16." He goes, "Wait, no, you don't want to do that." And I said, "Yes, I do."
Yeah, you got to get the real estate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, most video guys will be like, "Hey, you know what? Let's do it landscape because it's artsy and it looks super rad, right? You're able to capture everything." But for social, in my opinion, this is my opinion, right? You want as much real estate as possible.
Yep. And then for argument's sake, if you're just doing your YouTube strong, then do it 16 by 9. So, all right, next question: 3-wheeler or quad?
Oh man, you know 3-wheelers all day.
All day?
All day, man.
Dude,
Come on.
OG. Are you taking like
250R, man.
Oh,
Come
250.
on,
You're going
dude.
250.
250R, dude. Come on, dude.
Dude, you're taking the hot rod.
Yeah, man.
Getting that big old pipe, that loudness.
Yeah.
Pizza rolls or jalapeno poppers?
The pizza rolls, man, all day.
Yeah. Coffee or tea?
I'm a tea guy. Yeah, tea
big
guy.
tea
Yeah,
guy.
sweet tea, dude. Sweet tea all day.
Woo. Favorite movie?
Man, first one that came to mind was probably Heat. Or Friday. Friday or Heat. You know.
Dude, all right. So you're going the intense one and the funny one. I got you. Okay, here we go. I know what this is gonna be, but Instagram or Facebook?
It just depends. I mean, it depends on how old you are. I feel like
Good point.
And I feel like what are you trying to do? So I think if you're trying to sell a bunch of product,
Instagram or Facebook for our particular audience of off-road racers.
I would say Instagram more. If it was me a pick, it'd be like maybe 65% Instagram.
Oh, okay, so it's close.
45% Facebook, but
Still close.
I would probably do Instagram and TikTok. If I were to do both, but.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
if you could
so,
pick two,
yeah.
if you could have one superpower, what would it be? Social media guru.
Man, that'd be tough, man. I think just snap my fingers and make sure that everyone has $2 million in their bank account
Yeah.
at any time. Any one of my friends.
That would be
my
super
family.
cool, right?
Yeah. Hey. Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Superpower: make money grow on trees.
Yeah.
In
man,
your backyard
yeah, right?
only.
Oh.
All right. Netflix or YouTube?
I would say probably Netflix.
Because that's your personal preference, or for marketing?
You know what? Just because we watch shows on Netflix.
You're okay.
Yeah,
Got it. But if I'm gonna focus on one thing, I should focus on YouTube for my personal stuff.
Oh yeah.
Videos or photos, and this is the
Obviously,
social media content.
Videos are best, right?
Yeah.
And reels are best. You want to do reels, and they get to see the most traction. So make sure you do the reels, and don't get discouraged if you're not seeing viewers. Try and pick mainstream music. See how that works, right?
Yep.
And try and post multiple reels weekly.
Yeah,
let's call
exactly.
it 3.
Hey, we got a couple comments that just came in from our buddy Alex Streiler. He said, "Don't forget about LinkedIn, and KJ is the superpower." So,
oh man,
that is a good point to bring up, though. As LinkedIn is a different demographic. I don't think we're going to get too much into it here, but a lot of business is conducted through LinkedIn. So if you guys are into that, then you could go through there.
I think with the LinkedIn, I don't think, but that's where you're going to find your basically directors of business there. You're going to find your marketing guy there. You're going to find the right guy. The president of a company will be in LinkedIn. And then, one of the thoughts, and I don't think that are we done?
No, you can go.
Okay, so one of the things that we didn't talk about was, everybody, so George, when you race, you got a good suspension guy, right? Mm-hmm. You got a good motor guy.
Yep.
Correct, right?
Yeah.
You probably need a guy that's going to be
like IMG to build the car.
Right, guy to build your car, right? At the end of the day, do you have someone's doing logistics, right? And you want to have someone do logistics, for your deal, booking hotels or whatever it may be. But man, if you don't have a good sponsorship guy, and you're trying to chase after money, someone's going to have to do it. So it's either the racer or a family member or somebody. But again, at what level do you want? I mean, for me, I want to hire someone that's really good.
That's a really good point to bring up.
Right? So it's like, hey, you want to align your whole team, and you think about a chessboard, you want to align your whole team and have the best possible players on your team or a football team, right? You don't, if somebody's weak, if you have a weak sponsorship guy, well, you're going to get weak results. So if you're going to have a weak tire guy or somebody that doesn't have your tires grooved right, it's going to be bad. If you got suspension, same deal. If you got someone that's weak on suspension, well, you're going to be 2 seconds down or second down.
That brings up a really good point. And if you don't have the resources to hire somebody, make sure that you put in a good amount of effort for that, because that's a pretty crucial key to any successful program nowadays.
Absolutely. And again, just building the team. How important is the team, to you, right? And if you don't have someone that handles that part of your team, then it's going to be yourself, and you need to do the best job you can do.
Yeah, I agree 100%, man. Fantastic advice. All right, most memorable race, unless it's already the one that you talked about with Brad when you beat him in the UTV at Wild Horse Pass.
That was pretty rad. That was cool.
Did you have something that meant a lot to you for another racer? Like maybe Brad coming out winning his first race. Did that mean a lot to you? Like where do those kind of moments rank for you?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I was there. When Brad won his first race at the deal. I remember when it's funny. Thinking about Christopher Pavorti. When he started, he wasn't the fastest kid, and he worked his way all the way up to being one of the fastest kids.
Yep.
Out there, fastest guys out there.
Still hauling the mail.
Yeah, man, he's pretty incredible. And again, just thinking about Ethan Groom, man, he's freaking fantastic. Him and his whole family. Talk about whole great families.
Yep.
The Grooms that's a great family, right? And so, man, thinking about like even the McMillans, guys like that, just putting in the work, right?
Yep.
So,
but they're all doing it together. The wives, the children, everybody. It's so cool to see.
The team, right? So, just going back again to how important the team is and building people around you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Even thinking back to, you're like, okay, the racing, like the Cody Raiders used to race.
Yeah,
and
awesome, dude.
Remember how fast he was?
Yep.
And his dad, Doug, and he had his whole team around him, and he made sure that after every race they had, a big spread, a big dinner, and, they applied their budget towards certain things to, basically try and, get out there and win and whatnot. So
and humble, too.
They were fantastic people.
All right, favorite snack?
Probably beef jerky, man. I love beef jerky. Heck yeah, man.
Big beef jerky guy.
Yeah.
All right, since you're a dirt bike nut, supercross or motocross?
You know what? I love supercross, but I love motocross because it's the grit, dude. You got to get out there. You got to freaking work, dude. It's not. I feel like with the supercross, the suspension and your tires are so important. These guys got some traction control. Man, it's crazy, Obviously, outdoors is the same deal, but man, it's really, you
knock down, drag out,
right? It's you can compensate a little bit, for your bike being not as good. I think, in outdoor motocross. Possibly.
I'm hyped to see the outdoor motocross series start now.
And actually, it's coming to Paula. I think it's on the 28th. So
Ooh.
Yeah, make sure you grab your tickets. And there's going to be 2 events here in SoCal.
You gonna head out there?
Oh, of course, man.
Dude, I'm going to get my tickets then soon,
yeah.
too. Okay, well, here we go. What other form you've already tried short course racing, basically a professional since you got second place. But what other form of racing would you like to try?
Man, that's a tough one, man. There's so many out there.
Are you staying in the dirt? Are you going on MotoGP? You going like what are those swamp boat racing? Like where are you at? Monster trucks?
You know what? Since I built the Buxa Nova, I think I'm gonna do some time attack stuff, or just do some stuff like that with autocross with the
That'd be
Nova.
cool.
So, yeah,
dude, you got to be full throttle control for that bad boy.
Man.
All right, final question of the night, man. Actually, you know what? Let's ask this secondary question. I missed it. Speedboat or dragster?
Probably speedboat.
Yeah,
definitely.
All right, last question of the night, dude. Most important one: chips and guac or fries and ketchup?
Probably fries and ketchup.
Big fries and ketchup guy?
Probably, yeah. I'd say. I mean, chips and. I'm not a guac guy, but I love chips and salsa or chips and cheese, man.
So we got to change it up.
I'm a cheese guy. I love cheese.
Love cheese too. What if you're at In-N-Out? Do you get your fries well done?
No, I just get them how like they are.
Just straight up?
Straight up, man. Go ahead and just get them. I'm not too picky about In-N-Out fries.
All right. Well, that's pretty much it for the show, man, unless you got anything else.
Man, you know what, George? My takeaway from this, dude, I'm super proud of what you've done, what you've accomplished. Some people that are watching don't know. When I worked at Lucas Oil and did the regionals, we were in an issue where we needed to get live timing up online so that way everyone can see the live timing of the people racing. George came in, and helped with that with Brian McCormick, and they helped build our whole live timing program, got it online so everyone was able to watch. And again, thinking about, going above and beyond. You didn't need to do it, and you did do it. You supported the series, and again, now that I see what you're doing with the Dirt Life show, bringing people in, and again, just being creative, right? How do you be creative? What can you do above and beyond and go the extra mile? And again, I'm super proud of what you've been doing, going the extra mile, building your brand, building your name, and not, just sitting there saying, hey, you know what, no one sponsored me, life sucks.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. It's crazy the way that life turns you and what you have to do, but I've always been a fan of helping other people and helping other things grow. So that live track feed was pretty cool that we were able to do that with Brian's help. So
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much. We weren't able to see a lot of the last 5 minutes or so of the Instagram comments, so feel free to slide into our DMs because the comments go away after we stop the feed. But we appreciate all you guys hanging out with us tonight. You can always go to the sponsor deals page on thedirtlifeshow.com. And you can get discounts from all of the people that offer them up there. So please support the people that support us. Next week's show, guy that you probably know pretty well, Chuck Foreman of Pro Eagle Jacks. He's going to come on and talk about his stuff.
Oh, nice, man. Good one. Good
yeah,
one.
So it'll be cool to talk with him. He's a racer and obviously off-road business owner. It'll be neat to talk with him. We'll have a little bit of transitionary stuff about sponsorships and things like that. But I want to talk to him about how his business is doing now in the off-road world. It was cool to see that he was able to start making a product that didn't happen to be in the market. So thank you to everybody at IMG Motorsports, James Hill, John Pacheco for letting us hang out here. It was good to see you guys reminiscing a little bit earlier. Thank you to all of you guys for joining us, man. We really appreciate it. Thank you to the sponsors. Thank you to KMC Wheels. Thank you to Motul for being such a great partner in the show. Excuse me. Thank you to Evolution Power Sports. Thank you to Shock Therapy. Really appreciate all of them and the fantastic support that they give us. Thank you to JL Audio for being a part of the show now. Like I said, we have some cool stuff coming out with them. Appreciate Zollinger Racing Products, Vision Canopies, like we talked about. Kyle, congratulations on winning this week. And thank you to Josh over at Cryo Heat, man. All of these guys are such great partners to have. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate you guys living your dirt life with us on this fabulous Monday night.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Alex and Robert, man. You guys were fantastic. Brad, thank you guys for tuning in and jumping on, man. I know these guys are super busy, but for them to take time out of their day and give some knowledge, man, big shout out to those guys. George, thank you for having me on tonight, and, man, this was fun.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, man. Thank you to all those guys, too. All right, we'll see you guys later. Peace.
Thanks for listening to The Dirt Life Show. See you next week.